Eshek bi nyongma ni oba fon shiki. Ni hani to enjole aba. Ka wo party t-shirt ke ya fon shiki e. Ke ogbena ya shi anokwe Joy News. No fe anoni baba oba je ke anye nyekwe. Esuso nkaka wo na mi adeko. Mi na nti fafa na noko dadama. Magado party t-shirt ko yi polling station now. Nshia wi ke jojoga me de gonu na kpole Joy News. Tana dakovoko ya pama. What am I saying? Aka ena enum ayebeto aba. Abato na yebeto no moma sumdwe emra. Menhye party colors enkoto aba no. Otu wie ya akofie ena du mayato aba. Otu aba wie ya akofie bebi ebesi bia ebeyi ama wo Joy News ma wahye. Moma sumdwe emra. Translate, it's 10 days to go for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Let peace prevail. Welcome aboard the AM show, folks. My name is Sweetie Abochi, and I do this with Benjamin Akakbo. This morning, we'll start by serving you the AM news, like we always do. And then after that, we'll sit with Dr. Kwame Asasante, the head for Center for the European Studies at the University of Ghana, to review the newspapers and the stories captured in there. And then Muftan Abil Abdullah will come your way with AM Sports, bringing you the latest updates from the world of sports. What are we doing for our big stories this morning? We're going to be talking about self-defense against toy guns. Ishaiso Member of Parliament and Deputy Finance Minister Stephen Amwa brandishes gun against some youth in Atemanso, in a suburb of Kumasi. And it brings to sharp focus guns in the hands of public officials and the potential dangers. We'll get into it. We also know that about 26 people were picked up over the last week, I think, for, doing some social media activities with toy guns. What really is happening there? We'll get into all that. And then also, poultry farmers in Accra attribute the increase in egg and chicken prices to the high cost of feed. James Shen is on that beat and has been monitoring the situation at Malamata Market. And so on AM Business today, Wednesday, we'll bring you that. You want to join us for your, with your comments and your thoughts throughout the show from now to 10 a.m. We'll be serving you breakfast. And later on, at the tail end of the show, when we open the phone lines, you get to have your say. Welcome aboard the AM show. Take a seat and let's get into the AM news now. This is the AM News. Let's start right from our election headquarters. And the Electoral Commission has set the end of week to dispatch biometric verification devices, that is the BVDs, to 8 more regions ahead of the elections. Distribution of electoral materials, especially ballot papers, to Northern, Bono and Bono East regions have experienced some delay since the EC began distribution of the materials 2 weeks ago. Briefing the National Election Security Task Force at the Electoral Commission headquarters on the EC's preparedness so far, EC Chairperson Jean Mensam has been providing timelines on when all outstanding matters will be resolved before special voting on December 2nd. James Aveji tells us more.
The National Election Security Task Force, led by the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare, as part of its engagement with key stakeholders of the election, have been meeting the Electoral Commission to deliberate over preparation so far ahead of the election. First, the EC chairperson has been giving some updates on distribution of ballot papers so far and the biometric verification machines to the various regions ahead of the elections.
And all the ballots, with the exception of the Northern region, the Bono region and the Bono East, have been disseminated to our police armories across the country. I'm well aware that the ballot papers for the Northern region, the Bono and Bono East regions will be disseminated to the police armories this afternoon. It's instructive to note that our biometric verification devices are also being prepared, and we are confident that by this weekend all the biometric verification devices will be safely lodged in the police armories across the country. As we speak, we have over 8 regions. The biometric verification devices have been sent to over 8 regional armories, and they are in safe keeping there.
The EC chair has also been providing updates on the number of persons recruited so far to man the election on December 7.
The Commission has recruited close to 210,000 temporary officials across various categories, from returning officers to deputy returning officers, presiding officers, polling assistants in all the 40,900 plus polling stations across the country.
The IGP said, barring further engagement with the other stakeholders of the election, the police are 95% ready to safeguard the election on December 7.
We've done a lot of work when it came to the printing of the ballots and the transportation of the ballots across the country. And like you rightly indicated, we are 95% done. And with the BVDs, we are also almost 50% done. And looking at the timetable that we are working with, we are sure that within the shortest possible time, over the next couple of days, we'll be done with all this, and all these facilities and logistics will be in place at where it matters.
The National Election Task Force is expected to do other further engagement ahead of the December 7 poll. From the EC headquarters here in Accra, my name is James Saveji, reporting for Joy News.
President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has denied allegations of lying his way into power. According to him, issues of unstable power supply and slow economic growth, which were main campaign messages, remain factual. The president further reiterated that the country's economy is making a turnaround. And Anaya Ojima was with the president touring parts of the Ashanti region and has filed this report.
The president's speech at the inauguration of the newly constructed bridge at Atafua in the Bantama constituency was characterized by political jabs.
One of the most consequential decisions that Ghanaians are going to make in this generation is a decision that is going to be made on the 7th of December. And we're being told that senior citizens of this country should keep out of that matter. We will not keep out of it. We will not keep out of it.
The president emphasized his campaign to unseat the former president, John Mahama, was based on facts, contrary to opinions expressed by the opposition.
He's saying that in 2016, I came to power, I came to office by telling lies to the Ghanaian people. What are the lies I told? Dumsor was my making. I lied about Dumsor. Did I lie about the 3.4% sluggish rate of growth in Ghana at the time? Were all these lies created by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo? All these were lies. They were hard facts. But he's trying to find a way to excuse himself for his abysmal failure in 2016. He should find another thing, another story to tell.
He further emphasized the country's economy has been turned around following a dip in the time of COVID-19 pandemic.
The last quarter of the year, the rate of growth of Ghana's GDP was 6.9%, double what it was when he was leaving office in 2016. This is after all the difficulties. Our economy is beginning to pick up.
For Joy News,
Yes,
Anaya Ojima, Kumasi.
I want to invite.
Still in the election headquarters, NPP presidential candidate Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has pledged his commitment to completing the Agenda 111 hospital project within his first year in office if he wins the 2024 general election. And speaking during a campaign rally at Abosokai in Ablekuma Central Constituency, Dr. Bawumia said significant progress has already been made, with some of the hospitals expected to be operational before the end of 2024, creating 70,000 jobs in the process. Here's more.
During his campaign rally at Abosokai, the NPP flag bearer Mahmoud Bawumia assured Ghanaians that he will prioritize the completion of the Agenda 111 project within his first year in office if he secures victory in the 2024 general election. The vice president added that the project will create 70,000 jobs for healthcare professionals, further addressing unemployment and enhancing the country's healthcare workforce.
Choboy, and then the Agenda 111 Abba.
You see 111 hospitals. Ebi Sida. Ebi this year. How can you be next year? You be nipa, nurses, doctors, and health personnel. 70,000 people will be recruited into the National Health Service under Agenda 111. So
he told the enthusiastic crowd that he will introduce a flat rate tax system at the port to ease the financial burden on importers.
With the new import duty regime, and then flat rate import duty regime. Flat rate in ASEAN is saying, with the spare parts, Bagana, a 40-foot container, flat rate, also a 20,000 cities, a 20,000 cities, a Bedua, Ubetria, 20,000 cities flat.
Earlier, the MPP flag bearer had a meet and greet at the Malamata market and proceeded to the Hebron Prayer Center in the Nsawema-Dwejiri constituency, where he urged the Christian community to intercede on his behalf to win the elections and continue the free SHS policy and other initiatives implemented by the MPP.
Nyame Bible mo OUC Cyrus Ebua Israel for Mimi Sumiji di say Nyame obetime use Dr. Bawumia Abua Ghana for Ewa Ghana ha. If you were Chini Ejuma Yabedi Ewa Ghana ha. Mereno Esun say Yenye ma Shebeja for any Omampini Fufro. Me pese mo time echi any empire na me be Ghana Omampini.
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's tour of the Greater Accra region is expected to continue tomorrow.
Moving on, former Minister of Interior and Member of Parliament for Nandom, Ambrose Derry, has suggested that the admission of the National Chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, that he has brought developments to Nandom, clearly an endorsement of the continuation of his tenure. Asiedu Nketia, at a retail campaign in Nandom, said the MP has recruited lots of people into the security services and must be rewarded for it. He was, however, quick to point out that he will be less effective under the government of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia should the NPP win the presidential post. Ambrose Derry disagrees and insists Nandom is yet to see his full potential. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
National Chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, as part of his retail campaign tour of the Upper West region, visited Nandom to garner support for the party's presidential candidate, John Mahama, and the parliamentary candidate for Nandom, Richard Kuere, describing the former Interior Minister and Nandom Member of Parliament, Ambrose Derry, as a very good friend who, to a very large extent, has developed Nandom and recruited many people into the security services. He noted, however, that the time has come for him to take a bow from the Nandom parliamentary seat for another calling.
Akufo-Addo has 2 weeks for his term to expire. He's already an expired president. And so if your source of authority is from an expired president, then it means that you have also lost your legitimacy.
Ambrose Derry, however, rejected his call, stating that Johnson Asiedu Nketia's effusive statements is an admission of endorsing his candidature.
That was clearly an admission that he expects me to continue, because if I've done what is good for my people, why should I rest for an older person to come and take over? A person who hasn't shown sacrifice for our people and only came to represent them when he went on retirement, not me.
Upper West Region Minister Stephen Yakubu, who represented Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, elaborated on the achievements of the government through Ambrose Derry.
Casting our minds back to the deplorable nature of Nandom roads when compared to current situation, we can all attest to the fact that under our administration, Nandom road network is unmatched in the entire Upper West region.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam, Nandom.
Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, Chopbox Technology, a convenient service, German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness and Beauty, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants (CIMA), and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants (AICPA), together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gaps for positive youth development. Syntex Tanks, Air Strong, Air Tough, Potential Real Estate, your trusted partner in real estate. Deluxe Paint, Paint Mu Champion.
And away from our election headquarters, the Food and Drugs Authority has expressed its readiness to undergo audits by both local and international bodies to validate its actions regarding the alleged distribution of unwholesome rice to senior high schools. The authority maintains that all approvals granted adhere strictly to best practices and regulatory standards. The FDA emphasized its commitment to transparency and public health safety amidst ongoing scrutiny of the issue. The authority has been under pressure for failing to do due diligence before extending the best before date for over 22,000 bags of rice imported from Laments Africa Limited. Notongo MP Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, who first raised the alarm, claims documents reveal the rice was initially recommended for destruction.
But I have an internal FDA memo dated 29 December where the FDA's original roadmap was that 1, let's move in to stop the rebagging. 2, let us dispose of the rice, destroy the rice. And then 3, fine this company 150,000. It is shocking that when the Laments directors were arrested on the 20th of December, a lot of miracles happened. Calls from above released them. Then you remember the letter I read from JJ Boy, the superintendent in charge of crime from Ashanti, where he had sent samples to FDA. Will you believe that before these FDA test results will arrive on the 6th of February, an order came from above that the rice should be sent to our school. So all 22,000 bags were removed from the NAFCO storage facility and distributed to our kids.
Bags of rice that were under investigation by the FDA.
And I have here the FDA report which came on the 6th. And if they had waited for this FDA report, they wouldn't have shared the rice, because the FDA report confirms that, quote, presence of insect does not conform to the compliance statement. And this is signed by Marian Vivian Hammond, Marian Okome, Joseph Ufosusia. Yeah, insects. They found insects in the rice.
Which was then distributed to children.
Which had been distributed.
Okay.
By the 2nd of February, 1st and 2nd February, they had distributed this. Then the rice also had high fat acidity. So the rice was unwholesome and should not. I have given this to doctors. Medical doctors have told me that, look, this should not have been fed to our students.
Now, political parties pledge to prioritize clean air if they win elections, as researchers warn of the impacts of the worsening air quality situation in the country. Public transport, especially trotros, are one of Ghana's biggest polluters. At a Joy News Clean Air Dialogue here in Accra, political parties promised to incentivize drivers to switch to new electric vehicles and make local actors more accountable. There's more in the following report.
Lives annually, with children and the elderly most at risk. Research links rising asthma cases in kids under 5 to urbanization and dusty, unpaved schools. Dr. Sandra Kwatin Owusu explains.
We've just released a paper which is showing that for adolescents 12 to 14 years, 16% of them that we screened in Kumasi actually reported asthma symptoms. That's massive, because in the last 20 years, we were around 5%. So if we've climbed up to 16%, that is concerning.
Vice Dean of the UCC School of Public Health, Professor Kofi Amega says air pollution is a critical area of concern that needs immediate attention.
We have a ticking time bomb. Air pollution is a very critical public health problem and needs solutions. And in his initial submissions, Mr. Apia talked about political will. And the political will is very critical to addressing air quality in the Ghana landscape.
Bridge City's portfolio manager, Dr. Elvis Giabo, called for a rethink in funding allocation to tackle air pollution.
Countries in Africa in 2022 got 1/3 of all the funding that goes to a single country in Asia. So Philippines got $4.5 billion for air quality funding. The whole of Africa in 2022 got 1.5 billion. What it means is that there is uneven resource allocation for addressing air quality. We need to rethink of how we are allocating resources to address air pollution globally and then internally as a country.
With the December 2024 polls approaching, Desmond Appiah of Clean Air Fund urged political parties to prioritize reducing air pollution, particularly in urban areas. He was speaking at the Clean Air Dialogue organized in collaboration with Clean Air Fund and Bridge Cities.
What we are looking for is for deliberate, focused, intentional policies and actions that would have the potential to solve the challenges of our time, employment and the like, but would improve the quality of air, mitigate climate change, and help us to live better lives.
Political parties pledge to prioritize clean air if they win the election. Deputy Director of Policy for the Movement for Change, Courage Nobi, said they will tighten laws on air pollution.
A policy that ensures that we move away gradually towards clean energy solutions is also on the banner, such that even in local small production capacity businesses, we have them depend not on continuous burning of fossil fuel, but clean sources of energy like solar.
CPP's Ashanti Regional Secretary Issa Abdul Salam says they will incentivize public transport owners to replace old polluting vehicles with climate-friendly ones.
We want to reduce emissions from our vehicles. By doing that, it's under our government, we are trying to bring in a relief for those tractor drivers to be replaced with new cars on a higher purchase, so that all these cars who are 30 years and 40 years plus will be taken out on the motorways.
Clean Air Fund also launched a clean air manual to guide political parties.
Together with my colleague from Clean Air Fund, we duly declared this brochure launch.
Regardless of who wins the election, decisive action will be needed to tackle air pollution. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Let's get into our business update now. Now, for our first business story, the LPG Marketers Association has made a fresh appeal to the National Petroleum Authority to reconsider the module for the implementation of the cylinder recirculation policy, arguing the approach being developed is wrong. According to the marketers, the direction at which the NPA is going with the policy will defeat its intended purpose. Vice President of the LPG Marketers Association, Gabriel Kumi, is thus calling for a complete overhaul of the CRM policy, and he spoke to Joy Business.
For NPA, I think they've reached their wit end, and if the ministry doesn't take this up and try to give the policy a new direction, I don't think the way the NPA is going, we are going to have any successful rollout of CRM. And like I said, the official rollout was done 2 years ago. And do you see any CRM being done in Ghana? They are out there talking and engagement, continue to waste resources on this. But the approach is wrong. We don't have any problem with government introducing a policy. Right. But when that policy is being done and is not being done well, we have every right as industry players to speak up, and that is what we've been doing.
And stakeholders within the human resource and educational sectors are stressing on the need for more innovation to bridge the gap between academia and industry with respect to information, communication and technology. Founder of the Virtual Career Office, Ikuya Ampa, said this is necessary in the fight against unemployment in the country. She spoke to Joy Business at the 4th edition of the Tertiary Unlocked initiative.
What we hope to do with this program is to support young people, make the most out of their tertiary journey so that they can transition successfully out of tertiary. We've been doing this for 4 years, and so far it's been very good. We've had students get mentorship opportunities out of this program, and of course getting the students get the right career support, and then also make informed career decisions because of the discussions or the conversations that we have with these young people. We hope to use this program to bridge the gap between senior high school and tertiary transition, and also from tertiary to the world of work. So you realize that I said 2 groups of people that we are targeting, that is the senior high school graduates and then the tertiary students. So transitioning from high school to tertiary and from tertiary to the world of work. What I would say is just put yourself out there, do something to discover who you are. Because when you know who you are, you're able to make the most out of life.
Well, that ends the AM News Bulletin on the AM Show. You want to stay with us because the news review segment comes right up. And we will be joined by Dr. Kwame Asante. He's head for the Center of European Studies at the University of Ghana. We'll be back in a bit. It's 10 days to go for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Have you decided on which candidates you're going to vote for? This is the news review segment on the AM Show. I'm here with Benjamin Akapo. Benjamin, you're welcome. But before Benjamin comes in, I want to tell you that this year's CompuGhana Cashback has been named as Prime Cashback Season, and it's packed with incredible deals and exciting surprises. This Prime Cashback, CompuGhana, is bringing you exclusive discounts, prime savings, and awesome surprises when you shop products from any of their branches nationwide. You can find products from your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, TCL, HP, Lenovo, Dell Media, Nasco, Tecno, Infinix, Itel, Huawei, and many more. Visit any of CompuGhana branches nationwide and enjoy exclusive discounts on all products. CompuGhana has a wide range of IT-related products, mobile phones and electronic products like laptops, printers, desktops, tablets, television sets, fridges, home theaters, air conditioners, gas cookers, and many, many more. And what's more amazing is this year's Prime Cashback with CompuGhana has got great prices with instant gifts and cash prizes for your shopping experience. When you shop at CompuGhana this season, be on the lookout for the surprise team. Answer a question correctly and win instant cash and gift. You deserve this opportunity too, so rush to CompuGhana now. The promo runs from now till December. And so visit www.compughana.com or simply call 0302 752-020 for more information. Benjamin, welcome aboard.
Well, thank you very much. Let me also tell you a bit about the Medicas Hospital, a modern healthcare facility built with your recovery in mind. They have spacious wards built with your family in mind, a warm and caring pediatric unit built with your children in mind, and they have also assembled some of the brightest minds in medicine led by Dr. Yawosa for the drive-time doctor to serve you. Now, they're offering general medical services as well as specialist services in plastic surgery, obstetrics, gynecology, child health, urology, psychiatry, and eye care. And in addition to all that, they have a comprehensive medical diagnostic service encompassing endoscopy, medical laboratory services, x-rays, and scans. And if you want efficacious, safe, affordable medicine, they have a 24-hour pharmacy to serve you exactly that. And they're bringing to you, in addition, to top it all off, the most powerful medicine of all, simple human kindness and empathy. They pride themselves on the highest attainable standards, which they aspire to. They also accept all forms of payment, including from private health insurance companies. So all you have to do is make your way to Medicas Hospital, located at number 10 Kinso Street, near the Ashale Butche School Junction. You can reach them on 0501 477 340, 0501 477 340, on social media at MedicasGH. Medicas Hospital, a place of healing.
Well, our guest this morning is Dr. Kwame Asante. He's head Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Doc, it's always a pleasure to host you on the AM Show. Welcome aboard. Well, we'll try to reconnect with Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. But if you can hear us, please unmute. Okay, we'll try and get Doc back in the studio. Benjamin, you had a busy day yesterday. That national dialogue on clean air, I think it was amazing work that you did. We take it for granted that every day the fumes from these exhausts from our cars and all that are causing so much harm to us as people. What was the fallout for you, though? I mean,
28,000 people die practically every year in Ghana on the back of, these pollutants in the air, and we take them for granted. One crucial issue that came up, you see, we want roads, but at the same time, because of failures in terms of maybe procurement, in terms of contracts and kickbacks and all that, you can have roads that are meant to be built in a year or 10 months, lasting 4 years, 5 years. What that means is that people on a certain stretch may have to deal with dust and health-related issues for a protracted length of time.
Point in Sawam of Anchor stretch. Yeah.
And that's exactly what it takes to give some people respiratory issues. So a lot of people are walking around, they just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
You see, you're facing this. And the most vulnerable, children.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a major issue that, and I feel, I don't know, I'm not saying this because I work here, but we are the first entity I've seen highlighting this issue, having a national dialogue on it and putting the political parties to the sword. That what is your manifesto saying about these things? And
great work.
For me, it was.
Hopefully, we'll change the narrative, as we go with initiatives like this. But let's try Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante one more time. And Doc, if you can hear us, please unmute.
Yeah. Good morning, Sweetie.
Good morning, Doc.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear this time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning to you once again, and good morning to Ben.
Good morning, Doc. Hope you're well.
As well as our viewers. Yes.
Well, Doc, let's get straight into your trail of thoughts this morning. What would you share with us?
Yeah. This morning, I'm looking at two, issues: consensus and dialogue. These are very critical ingredients in any governance process. But sometimes they are very difficult to find within the political space, simply because we have not paid attention to these things. What am I talking about? I'm simply talking about the state of affairs in Parliament now. Now, majority has triggered a process to get Parliament back to sit and look at issues. And then minority saying that, no, we are also doing something. And that something is also will lead to a certain standstill. What is missing in all these things are two things: consensus and dialogue. Consensus and dialogue. The law has finished its work, but what do we need? We need consensus and dialogue. And this is nothing but what? Politics, right? Politics, they are in the realm of politics. So you need to be able to work these fine variables well in order to get government business going. I believe that parliamentarians, they know that these two ingredients are critical. So I will urge them to be able to sit and look at each other's face and see what they can do. Okay. Without it, afraid, things are going to be difficult. But I know that as a former reporter in Parliament, I've seen time without number that when there are difficult situations, the leaders meet and discuss. I believe that the leaders of Parliament today will sit down and look at the issues and see the way forward so that they can get government business going forward. Yes, that is my message today, that let us put emphasis on consensus and dialogue with the support of the political parties supporting their caucuses in Parliament. I think that is the way to go.
Consensus and dialogue. Thank you so much for that insightful thought this morning, Doc. And I want to start with my newspaper. That's a Daily Guide newspaper. Just 3 stories from here. But on the front page, EC ready for special voting on December 2nd. Ghana will not burn, says the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, assuring Ghanaians. Bawumia shakes Malamata Abosokan. December elections must focus on peace, not power, and will protect electoral officers, says the IGP, and that's where I want to start from. First, the President Akufo-Addo has stated that the peace being enjoyed in the country will remain intact before, during, and after the December 7 presidential and parliamentary elections. And according to him, he inherited a peaceful country from his predecessor on January 7, and he, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, will also hand over a peaceful country to his successor, who would emerge victorious in the upcoming elections. And then the IGP says we'll protect electoral officers. The Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare, has assured the Electoral Commission of his outfit's commitment to ensure all electoral officers are protected during the general elections. And according to the IGP, the Ghana Police Service has made special provision to protect the electoral officers from attacks by individuals who seek to cause distraction in the electioneering process. And then the EC also says the story reads, the Electoral Commission has announced its readiness to conduct the special voting, which is set for Monday, December 2nd. And that will be happening at 276 designated voting centers across the country ahead of the general elections. And this exercise is designed for individuals who will be busy on the main election day, including security personnel, media personnel, and election officials. That includes us as journalists. One last story here, and then I'll come to you, Doug. NDC is a threat to Agenda 111. That's not the story I'm looking for. Abedi Pele breaches hard work in Stars revival. And football legend Abedi Pele has joined the growing list of stakeholders offering solutions to Black Stars revival. The Black Stars' current state, coupled with their failure to make it to the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco, has stoked debate among the football fraternity. It goes on to say that, but three-time African Player of the Year winner of the 1982 AFCON tournament with the Black Stars has given a ray of hope. To him, generations gone by cannot be compared to the current crop of players. These four stories, Doc, for your reflections.
Well, very, very interesting topics. I'll start with sports.
Right.
Yeah, just to add a certain flavor to what we are having. Abedi Pele, great footballer, and I witnessed his play during the time when he was very active. So I am happy that he has joined the conversation to share ideas about how we support Black Star. It's very, very worrying. I think I've told you some time ago that I've stopped watching Black Stars match because I don't want to die of heart attack. I support it through thick and thin, and so when things go amiss, then I always have a problem. So these days when Black Stars are playing, I hide in my room, and only when they score, I come out to share in the victory. But you know, we have serious problems there. Right. Problem about who will manage the team. Problem about those who play. How do we get them? Are we building local football to the extent that we can rely on it solely, or even, you know, blended foreign players and the rest of them? These questions remain unanswered. So I believe that people like Abedi Pele and others should join forces to be able to help the Black Star to lift up their game.
Okay.
Then I'll move on. My next topic will be EC and readiness to you know,
special voting?
For the special voting exercise. Yes, it is an important exercise because that kickstarts the whole electoral process, that people in certain categories of work and all that are placed in different spots to be able to go and cast their ballot first before the 7th, so that they will be able to perform their responsibilities on the day of voting, right? It is a good thing, but we expect that it has always been peaceful, especially special voting exercise, but we expect people to turn in their numbers, go and vote. Let us remember that we are just exercising our franchise. There's no need to cause any confusion and all that. And of course, once it's coming from people in this special category, we are talking about security people and all that, they will do the needful for us to have a peaceful exercise. I know stakes are high, but I know at the end of the day, the good people want to maintain democracy in this country. I'll look at IGP and his assuring message that he will protect the electoral officers. It's critical because we have seen sometimes where people charge on electoral officers without even provocation. They chase them, they attack them, and all that. It is very good news that we are welcoming this morning. But we want the IGP to also turn his attention to the fact that sometimes security people who protect us go to shoot people. And the Asing North incident is still fresh on our minds. 8 people dead. And today, nobody talks about it. We will plead with the IGP to, instill in his people that, hey, that ugly spectacle will not be repeated in this election. We are with him, we support him, but this is the area of concern that we want him and other security apparatus to know that this time around, no, we'll not allow that. But we will support every peaceful process. We will make sure that violence will not be part of this program. And at the end of the day, the democracy will continue to grow. The peace, and then the president's statement that he will ensure that he will hand over this country in one piece as he inherited. Refreshing news, and we want the president to be able to deliver that for us. We will support him like the way we support the police, but we want the president to, as a commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, to be able to impress it upon the security that this is a very civil exercise, that whenever there are even breaches of the electoral process, the officers and men would know how to handle it so as not to create any problem for our society. They've done it all the time to support the society. This is not the time to bring the bar that low. And I am always hopeful that our security will stand strong and work, but more will depend on also the support that the president gives to them to be able to deliver. And we urge the president to do all that he is within his power to be able to make this election a success.
Right. Thank you so much, Doc. Ben, IGP says they're 95% ready for the elections. That's what he said yesterday, but let's get it.
I mean, that is reassuring. It's good to hear. I always salute the police, and especially with their visibility teams. You see a lot of them. I think people don't realize it, but for some nefarious characters, criminals, merely seeing a police officer on your stretch safeguards a few things. I see people, walking around pretty late and all of that. It's all good. They are doing a fantastic job. But I've also seen the police involved in crowd control and getting it wrong. I've seen the Democracy Hub altercations. I have heard of other things which are also not so positive. Yeah. All I'm saying is they should link their preparedness with quality service, okay? They are a service, and hopefully election 2024 will be free, fair, peaceful, transparent, and all that. But I have a question for you, especially as the EC talks about special voting Monday. Are you voting on Monday, or are you going to vote on Saturday like the rest of us?
I think I'll vote on Saturday like the rest of you.
Okay, all right. I thought you were a special voter.
We're supposed to, but I didn't.
You didn't register
for special voting. So
neither did I. I also like feeling the temperature, going out there myself.
I will be out there anyways.
Getting to see what it's like before I come back in the studio and report. But from the Daily Graphic newspaper, vote number 1 on December 7, Dr. Bawumia tells electorate, Western Region Chiefs appeal to Mahama for development. There's all set for special voting Monday. I will not get into that. It's already been got into. EC features at Graphic Development Series today. Adan Traditional Council expresses concern over inaccurate media reports. I have some interesting stories inside to look at, but on the back page, President inaugurates 4 hospitals, bridge over Owabi River, and I guess it's inauguration galore, right? In fact, the story I'm starting with on page 10 talks about, some of these projects and inaugurations in election or electoral years. But there's this quote. by Reverend Raphael Warnock, as the Daily Graphic talks about 10 days more to election 2024. It says, a vote is a kind of prayer about the kind of world you want to live in. A vote is a kind of prayer about the kind of world you want to live in. So it says a vote. It doesn't say criminality. It doesn't say fighting. It doesn't say violence. It doesn't say cheating. It doesn't say rigging. It says a vote. So on that day, you go out, you express your opinion. If at the end of the day, your opinion is what carries the day, fine. If it doesn't, Charlie, no opinion will be other. All right. So now let's get into the stories. Judge tosses Trump 2020 election case after prosecutors' request. So I guess Trump has the leeway. But the main story I'm focusing on, it's actually an opinion. Election roads increasing, but quality, I beg of you to just stay with me briefly. I'm going to read quite a bit from here. I don't usually do that. I recently drove, and the author is Dr. Paul Kofi Feng. I recently drove through Abladze, a neighborhood in the Gan East municipality, and saw serious construction work on drains. Amidst the chaos of roadblocks, I managed to navigate and found my way to Pantang. In contrast, although constructed, the level of deterioration on the road right in front of the Pantang Psychiatric Hospital is an eyesore. By the time I ended up in some neighborhoods at Adenta, I could see construction equipment working. It was obvious these roads were being constructed because of the upcoming election. Thus, they can be termed election roads, and they have happened under every regime since Rawlings. Then he says, recent reports indicate that the number of roads inaugurated during election years far outpaces. So in an electoral year, you see a lot more work on roads and other infrastructure. What is the thinking? Far outpaces those in non-election years. In the lead up to the 2020 election, for instance, the government declared the year as the year of roads and initiated numerous projects across the country. He also adds, I'm just picking selected portions. While this may seem like progress, it is essential to ask whether these roads are part of a well-thought-out development plan or mere political expediency. The problem lies not in the number of roads being constructed, but in the deceitful motivations behind their timing and execution. And the final paragraph, this is the crux of it. Rushed construction projects often compromise quality. Poorly built roads deteriorate quickly, requiring frequent repairs that drain public funds. This cycle of substandard work not only wastes resources, but also poses safety risks to road users. I had to get into that opinion today because I feel it is so apt and so reflective. And I'm not just talking about this current administration. So many of them, like he mentions, since Rawlings. But we keep seeing this, and I don't know what it would take to call our political leaders to order. Indeed, a government's tenure runs until the morning of January the 7th, when they hand over. But still, what can you do? The flower pot flyover, you couldn't do it within 8. It's in the 8th year that I don't know. But let me do these two stories on politics, and then I'll come to you, Doc. Vote number 1 on December 7, Dr. Bawumia tells electorate. The flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has urged the electorate to vote number 1 in the presidential and parliamentary elections on December 7 this year. He was addressing spare parts dealers at Abosoka in the Ablekuma Central Constituency in Accra yesterday. Consequently, he asked Ghanaians to stick with the MPP. And he said, quote, I've been to over 270 constituencies and 16 regions. What I've witnessed here today tells me by the close of day on December 7, we will hear Jefferson Saki as won as the new MP for Ablekuma Central and NPP has won the presidential election. He said, that's him. Now, the NDC's end, Western Region Chiefs appeal to Mahama for development. This is my last story. And there'll be one. It says, some traditional leaders in the Western region have expressed disappointment and frustration over the current government's neglect of the region. In a passionate appeal to the National Democratic Congress presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, who paid a courtesy call on the Western Regional House of Chiefs, the chiefs urged him to address the region's pressing issues should he become president in 2025. The chiefs lamented the destruction of the region's natural resources, including forest reserves, saying the situation would have dire consequences for the nation. They also expressed concern about the exploitation of their lands and the devastating effects of illegal mining, commonly called galamsey, as well as the lack of infrastructural development. The paramount chief of the Esikado traditional area, Osaberima Kobinanketia, who chaired the meeting, urged former President Mahama to come back and wake the nation up. So Two stories from the political end, and then the story about road construction. Any thoughts, Dr. Asante?
Thank you, Ben. I'll look at roads and elections.
Mm.
Yes. This type of phenomenon has been with us for a very long time. And as a political society, we have not made our minds to address them. It also feeds into other things. If you stretch the conversation, you extend it to even political business cycle, where, you know, the state takes all the measures to build the economy. When they are going for election, they are ready to destroy the very economy they build by what? Being reckless about the fundamentals, about spending, the way they throw money out and all that. At the end of the day, people get power, and the way they abuse money during election, they come back and they can't govern. There is no resource. There are no resources to start governance with. It creates a problem. We have not looked at that. And these are the things that affect our society. And it also ties into incumbency abuse, where they line up all these projects, commission them during campaign, so they go and use state resources to campaign against people who have paid taxes for them to be able to govern, and then go and, you know, campaign to the disadvantage of those who finance them, who are also competitors. Can you imagine that? We have not taken the trouble to look at that. In certain jurisdictions, before you go for campaign, and it's a political campaign, you go with your own car and all that. But here they will tell you they are commissioning a project, which is what? For the state. It's not part of the campaign. And that, from there, they launch onto the platform and then, you know, campaign for themselves. That fine line is difficult to you know, break and all that. And it creates all manner of problems. So until we as a society decide that, look, we want to get it right and strengthen the frontiers of this, our electoral system, we continue to have this thing reoccurring. Yes, rules and elections. The wait, as you've told us, we will go through dust, we'll go through difficulty and all that for years, and then wait to the last minute. Then they construct roads and people hail them. Oh, we've got it. But let people also remember that when a government build infrastructure and all that, yes, we praise them, but we should have a limit, because it's part of the responsibility of the state. If you look at the functions of the state, it is the duty of the state to construct roads, to build hospitals and all that. So normally, when you do these things, I don't glorify that, simply because it's part of your duty. I, as a teacher, when I teach my students and they perform well, they don't need to hold a press conference and glorify me. No, it's my duty. Then I move on to the Western region and the cry from the chiefs that the place has been left without development. It's a sorry story, simply because if you look at the resources that drive this country's economy, the bulk of them come from Western region. And if that's the story there, then it's a problem. It is worse when we are talking about issue of Galamsey, where people want us to shove it under the carpet. If we look at the devastating effect of Galamsey on the economy, particularly in forest areas, river bodies, and even the threat that it poses to life, it is a tall order. I believe that this call by the chiefs will be taken seriously and be factored into governance after January 7, 2025. Because, look, Western region, if we manage it well and develop that place very well as any other place, Western region alone should be able to support this country without difficulty at all. Right. So we should turn our attention to Western region and any other region and develop it. And then we can say that we've done the best for our society.
And you know what? The Western region alone, like he's saying, can be the breadbasket of Ghana. That's a very interesting point. And it also, if you look at the voting patterns, it's one of the strongholds of the New Patriotic Party in terms of voting. You move from Ashanti, you go to Eastern, Western. So I do not know. But I'll just leave you with this in 30 seconds before you come in. Reflections on Kodeo's pre-election observation report. Our very own Dr. John Osai Kwapong, has noted, I'm just summarizing, that it's interesting that this time round, he says the dying art of political rallies. They are not focusing more on rallies now. They are going into, homes. They are going to communities, individuals, and all that. He says, I'm therefore quite struck to read in the Codeo report how house-to-house campaigns are the key activity for both the MPP and the NDC. This is a radical change from 32 years ago and underscores how political parties are recognizing the importance of retail politics rather than wholesale politics. And one of Codeo's recommendations, which I agree with, is the intensification of voter education efforts. That's it for the Daily Graphic newspaper.
Right. Let's get into the Daily Searchlights. There's a story here that I got into, and I'm wondering, well, let me start from the front page. Clear and present danger. 50 new HIV cases recorded in Ghana daily. That's alarming. Daily. So Ghana's fight against HIV and AIDS has been dealt a significant blow, with a staggering 50 new cases recorded daily. That is according to Dr. Cheme Etiahene, Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission. And this alarming rate has sparked concerns about the country's ability to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal 3 by 2030. I'll put a pin in that and skip to this story here. 2 jailed 13 years for trading in human skulls.
In human what?
Yeah, skulls. So you go through all the struggles in this life, you die peacefully or whatever, and then
someone comes for your skull.
Comes for your skull.
It's like, what?
It's not funny then. So a gravedigger found in possession of a human skull without court authorization has been sentenced to 8 years in prison by the Dansoman Circuit Court. Abdul Razak Mohammed, a 49-year-old gravedigger at Awudome Cemetery, reportedly sold the skull to Alex Frimpong for, guess what? Guess how much? 600 Ghana cedis, allegedly to help Frimpong secure more contracts in his masonry work. And I saw, according to the story, because I read it while you were doing your paper, he'd been struggling to get more contracts. He went to see a fetish priest. The priest said, bring a human skull and I'll help you get more contracts. At the risk of sounding elitist, do we really believe that a human skull is the key to your quest for more contracts rather than actually maybe expanding your work? Or I don't know. Sometimes I read these stories, and I'm not to say that African traditional religion is. My parents would tell me that we have traditional stuff that we do, and then we have rituals and the bad one. But a human skull, what's happening? Dr. Kwame Asante, over to you.
Very difficult story. Difficult in the sense that the West African traditional religion, as you have already said, is very solid.
Yeah.
But it abhors things of this nature. So these things are not part of West African traditional religion. They are part of evil activities, if you like, that way. But it's worrying that we have people who engage in looting of graves when people are dead and gone and they are resting. You have people who want to make money out of that pain. It's just unfortunate. But it brings to a sharp focus a problem we have in our society about socialization, how we inculcate certain values in people. It tells you that it has broken down, because if we do it well at the family levels, take it to the schools, public places, church, mosques, shrines, and all that, we get people who socialize that to make it in life is by dint of hard work. Nothing more, nothing less. So if you want to cut corners through this type of illegal means, I'm afraid you always have your fingers bent. We need to intensify that and tell people that success is driven by nothing but hard work. Any other thing, will not work. Once we get it right, we get the basis right, we should be able to live a better life. I also look at the issue of Codeo report, talking about the fact that rallies are dying and all that. Yes, it reflects the changing circumstances of the time, and it's good. It tells you that we as a society, we are moving gradually towards a certain end, and the political parties are also following. The house-to-house campaign, you will recall that Professor Mills started this, and people were laughing at him, that can you engage in house-to-house campaign of the whole country? Now, today, here you are. It has become part and parcel of what we do. The voter registration exercise, I also support that portion of the report, must be taken seriously because it is the basis of everything. Once we get appropriate people, when I say appropriate people, people required by law to vote, to have their names on the roll of electors, then we are home and dry. We should be able to do this without destroying the register, where we put minors in, where we engage in all dubious, manners or processes, so as to win power. This thing should be a thing of the past. So I support all the report is saying, but there's one thing that I also have found relative to what this election campaign, about the fact that one of the biggest platforms that we are seeing in recent time is the social media. And what we have there, they don't sell any message. You go there and you see, if it is not about drawing of a t-shirt or a party logo, it's about dance and gestures and all that. But there are serious issues we want to discuss with the youth there. It's not about dance and gestures and all that. No, the youth are interested in messages that will resonate with them, that will give them hope, that will give them jobs, that will be able to tell them about the health of the economy, who has done what and all that. Records of what regimes and political parties the youth want to know. It's not about dance, gestures, and songs. I'm afraid that is not the issue.
Thank you, Doc. Benjamin, it will not surprise me if we dig deep into this human skull dealing and this Mason guy, if we find out that he doesn't even have good work ethic. Instead he's seeking to ritualist and it's just so stuck on my head now.
I mean, sometimes we major on the minors and what you should do to up your game and better yourself. And maybe, I do know that in this country, when it comes to contracts and the rest, it could be political. You may not get a contract because you are seen to be this or that. It's okay. I mean, but if you are top notch and you do your stuff well, I'm sure there are some things you will get and you'll get by. It doesn't take having everything before you are content or happy. So I think that sometimes the excesses, sometimes we also blame poverty or the harsh economy, but it should never push you to certain extremes where you are going against what is right, okay? I mean, who wouldn't, we all want a better life, right? But if you know that what I'm going to do, this is not legitimate, it's going to cause suffering to other people. I mean, this person whose skull has been taken, can you imagine how the family, if it's identified, would feel? I mean, how can you desecrate? And
this is only one of such cases that has come to light. So maybe this is something they're doing and this is specifically at Awudome Cemetery.
I mean, grave robbery or grave digging, it's not new. But the point is, I mean, it's a very dastardly act. It's so disrespectful to the dead. But do you see what I see?
Show me what oh.
It's such a beautiful picture, right? My sweetheart, Bawumia, focused on bold solutions for campaign.
I've seen less of Samira this election than previous years. I think she was more active in previous election years. Well, I don't know what you think.
Well, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Samira was more active because she had more to say back then. Now it doesn't appear she has more to say. I mean, let's face it, that's a beautiful picture. I mean, when I saw it, I went, oh,
yeah,
oh. But you see, while she says my sweetheart Bawumia focused on bold solutions, not campaign of insults, I wish I would have preferred it if Samira Bawumia was very vocal about some crucial issues. And I like her. I attended this event once, many years ago at the Ghana Association of Writers, and it was interesting, powerhouse. I like her. But I would have preferred it if she could say to us, Ghanaians, that her sweetheart had given us a beautiful economy, which he was, touted for. Beautiful governance. I would prefer that to, bold, you see, our politicians always like to be futuristic. We will. When they would do, it's like Manifest says, debi ebeye, and so debi beba da bang. D for da bang.
Yeah.
So, Samira, beautiful picture, but message, no, I don't know. Dr. Asante, your take.
I think I share in your view because we are interested in both solutions, not tomorrow, today. If you look at public policy, it's a problem of today that we are solving tomorrow. Sorry, the future problem we are solving today. All right. So if there is any both solution, let's see it today, because you don't know tomorrow and you have no control over it.
But Doc, you know they've changed. Sorry to interject. They've changed from, you know, so a city name network bapa. Now it's network bapa. So just I thought that was very.
But the reality is dawning on them, because in this country, one of the factors voters consider in voting is the economy. And you don't need Adam Smith to teach anybody the economics or the political economy of the country. You go to the market, the reality is there. You are able to compare 2016 to 2024. What happened? Size of Kenke, the same. You look at that, transportation and all that. The cocoa seller, the watches seller, they are very good at this. So they are able to use it to gauge whether a party has been faithful to its promises. So for me, the reality is out there. The bold solution is with the people. The people know which solution will be bold for them, and they decide. And they base it on the economy and certain constituency-specific issues and regional issues. Galamsey will feature prominently. Issue of unemployment will feature prominently. Issue of health and the rest of them. But religion will not feature. Ethnicity will not feature. If that is the case, I'm afraid we are not going to have any democracy. But thank God, religion will never play any important role. Those who say and put premium, I'm telling them it's a lie. They have not read the literature about voter choices. Religion doesn't play any meaningful role. Ethnicity doesn't. Because if you say ethnicity is the case, and you are saying that any time we go for election, the dominant political party, which is the dominant ethnic group that counts, they will win elections. Is that the case? We've seen Rawlings winning election, and ever. Not the major part ethnic group. We've seen John Mahama, his group, the Gonja, very small group, are you with me, winning power. So it tells you that other factors other than ethnicity. And I am happy that I have not seen the politicians playing the ethnic card around this time. It will not work. They shouldn't go there. Religion too. If religion was the case, and then Dr. Bawumia wouldn't have won elections within the primaries of the NPP, because this is a predominantly Christian society or group, but he won because other factors push him into winning. So that's my message.
Thank you.
Can I leave you with some other headlines? The custodian, Natoshi polls Greater Accra voters for Bawumia, and there's access to quality education. Tampuli presents, of course, that's Hassan Tampuli, presents teachers' quarters, classroom blocks to constituents. And then the Accra Times, Lifetime Achievement Award for Bagbin as he calls for leadership-focused education. La MP equips 274 youth, and then holistic education requires concerted effort by educators. Speaker Bagbin says so.
Right. Some other headlines here. The Inquisitor, NDC storms Ashanti with superior media plan. Our democracy is our responsibility, according to Justin Kodua. NDC cannot collate their results, says Napo. Don't call repainted old schools brand new infrastructure. That is Professor Jenana Opoku-Ajiman. And the news center has Kozi inaugurates road and bridge project in Adenta. Police sued for 15 million Ghana cedis over chopped ear of pregnant woman. MTN Ghana partners with Access Bank to offer flexible smartphone payment service. And President Akufo-Addo inaugurates 4 hospitals in the Ashanti region. And the banner story is Walk the Talk of Peace. IGP Dampare urges lawful conduct ahead of the polls. Doc, we only have about 30 seconds for your final words.
Yeah, Ben gave a certain quotation, very beautiful one. I want to add to this. Clisines, if you read the literature about democracy, is saying that politics, anybody who doesn't take part in politics, you are not, and by extension, election, you are not only a danger to society, but you are a useless human being. That is Clisines. But I will look at NDC and Ashanti region. People are asking, why is it that they are going there all the time and all that? a number of reasons. One, when they get beyond 30%, they won the election. And the last election, if you look at the figures and all that, NDC got more votes in Ashanti region than even voter. Go and do the mathematics and you see. So it's an important area. You are dealing with 47 constituencies and it's a lot. And if you are able to get your basics right, you are home and dry.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kwame Asante. He's Head Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. And this is where we end the news review segment. Benjamin, I'll accept you have something to say. Okay, please stay for sports coming up next with Muftar Nabil Abdullahi.
Time now to bring you sports here on the AM show with me, Muftar Nabil Abdullahi. Later today, the Executive Council of the Ghana Football Association would decide the future of Black Stars head coach Otto Addo. The leadership of the football governing body will be meeting at 11 a.m. at the Football Association's headquarters here in Accra. Otto Addo, who led Ghana since May 2024, failed to qualify to the African Cup of Nations 2025 after failing to win a single match out of 6 matches in the qualifying series. The Executive Council at its meeting in Accra last week did not agree on deciding the fate of Otto Addo because there were 2 blocks out of that meeting. One of the blocks had kicked against the decision of the GFA to part company with the former Borussia Dortmund assistant coach, and there was also the other block that insisted that he did not meet his KPIs, hence he should be sacked as head coach of the team. You would recall Joy Sports had reported that those who said Otto Addo did not meet his KPIs had mentioned that it was mandatory for him to qualify Ghana to the African Cup of Nations 2025, hence his failure to do so simply meant that he should lose his job. While the other side of the FA Executive Council had said that since the sacking of CK Akuna in September 2021 and the sacking of Chris Hughton earlier this year, the duo have not been paid their severance packages. Hence, it did not make any financial sense for the Ghana Football Association to sack Otto Addo and his technical team. The GFA that had planned to meet Otto Addo that Wednesday evening rescinded against that and decided that they were going to invite him to present his technical report to the leadership of the FA today and explain why he should keep his job as head coach of the Ghana Football Association. So the meeting will be happening at the Football Association Secretariat at 11 a.m. And we are also made to understand that the president of the Ghana Football Association, Kete Kreku, has met some executive council members one-on-one, seeking their opinion on what they think of Otto Addo as head coach of the Black Stars. And after the meeting today, they are expected to vote on the future of Otto Addo, and it is the majority that will dictate the fate of Otto Addo as head coach of the Black Stars. Many people had actually also claimed that should it get to the point where the Ghana Football Association would want to part company with Otto Addo, he would rather tender his resignation instead of getting fired. Some people within the football space, i.e. Ernest Thompson, who is a former management committee member, has already called for the sacking of Otto Addo as head coach of the team. So the UEFA Champions League and Arsenal, they went to Sporting Lisbon and secured a 5-1 win. Manchester City sat at home and drew 3-3 against Feyenoord. Barcelona defeated Brest by 3-0, and Bayern Munich also won 1-0 against PSG. Now let's take a look at the results of matches that were played in the UEFA Champions League. And Bratislava, they were at home and they lost 2-3 to AC Milan. Spartak Praha also lost 6-0 to Atletico Madrid. Barcelona won 3-0 against Brest. And just as you saw gone by, Bayern Munich won 1-0 against Paris Saint-Germain. Inter Milan won 1-0 against RB Leipzig. Bayer Leverkusen won 5-0 against Salzburg. Manchester City, their woes continues this season as they do 3-3 against Feyenoord. They've now gone about 5 games without a win in all competition. And Sporting Lisbon sat at home and lost 5-1 to Arsenal. There will be more matches later tonight. Now let's bring you the fixtures. The big one is Liverpool versus Real Madrid. It is a big game. And these were teams that were in the final just about 3 or 4 seasons ago in the UEFA Champions League. So later tonight, Stuttgart will come up against Red Bull Salzburg. There's also a game between Graz versus Girona. Aston Villa will play Juventus. Bologna will come up against Lille. Celtic will also be in action. Celtic, their game is also going to be against Club Brugge. Dynamo will play Borussia Dortmund. Liverpool versus Real Madrid. Monaco versus Benfica. And PSV versus Shakhtar Donetsk. That is your sports for now. We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com, and we'll also call on you to continue to monitor all our social media handles as we pay attention to what will be happening at the Ghana Football Association Secretariat as the GFA Executive Council meets the technical team led by Otto Addo at 11 a.m. today. Whatever decision that is taken, you trust us to bring you that story on myjoyonline.com. We appreciate your time.
Welcome back on the AM show. I took the wind out of your sail there. But interesting dynamics in the Ashanti region, specifically the Nshiaeso constituency. I mean, the story we have so far is pretty interesting. It has come to the fore. It's become topical because there's been an act of purportedly brandishing a gun. But then we're told it was a toy gun and all those dynamics in there.
Especially coming on the back of 26 people already being picked up by the Ghana Police Service. I mean, I think it was just a social media challenge, you know, where a group of people were, you know, shooting water guns at each other for the fun of it. But I think in a way, it violates some sort of code of security, you know, processes and all that. And so the police are investigating. But Benjamin, let's get into the actual story of what happened.
What exactly happened, right? We all want to know the full details. Nanaya Aljuma is on hand. Nanaya, if you can hear me this morning, just walk us through exactly what happened from start to finish.
So, Benjamin, we understand that the incident happened on Sunday. And the story is that there was a party event which was attended by the Member of Parliament. You know, it's election period and everybody is going about campaigning. So that is what the Member of Parliament was actually doing at Asomasa, the community in which the incident happened. So he mounted a platform to speak to the people. Immediately after the speech he delivered there, or the campaign message delivered, the young people within the area went to him. And the information is that the people were expecting him to give a message or update on an AstroTurf facility that is being constructed in the area. It's one of the projects that the young people in the area have been looking forward to in terms of delivery. But according to the information that I've been getting from the ground, this is still uncompleted. So the young people were expecting the Member of Parliament to give them update on why the project is not completed yet. So he refused to do that on the platform. It could be, I don't know if it was deliberate or not, but he couldn't do that on the platform. So immediately he went down on the from the platform and went to his vehicle to, you know, continue his activities. Some of these young people went to him asking him what is the update on this particular project. So he was having a conversation with some of these young people, and the information is that one of them brought out the toy gun to threaten the Member of Parliament. According to the information that I have received from some of the people within the community, it could be that the Member of Parliament wasn't aware that the person was in hold of a toy gun, using it to threaten him in request for these answers. So the information is that he also brought a pistol from somewhere. You know, he had a pistol on him, and he pulled it out, and also, you know, that was when they drew his attention to the fact that what the guy had in his hand is just a toy gun, not an actual gun.
Who drew his attention to this? Who drew his attention? One of the
you know, he was in the midst of a number of these young people who had come to him, and the information is that he had a cordial argument with them, and at a point he had even taken some cash from his pocket and given to some of these young men who had requested that he gives them something for the days for their dinner that day. So it was a cordial banter between the member of parliament and these young people. So some of them, they all thought that the guy who pulled that who brandished that toy gun was just continuing with the fun that they were having there. According to some of the people within the community, some of them who had attended the party event, even party members had come with some of these toy guns, and whenever something is said that excited them, they shot in the air and followed with laughter in the area. So a lot of people say it was something that continuously people were doing, brandishing these toy guns and shooting them in the air. So some are actually surprised that the member of parliament went to the extent of pulling a real pistol in the midst of the fun that they were having.
Naya, I want to understand something. I want to understand something. Toy gun, yes, you say some were shooting whatever, but this is not a water pistol. If these are toy guns, what were they shooting? You say they had been shooting, just for fun in the crowd ahead in this whatever that was happening. What were they shooting? What was coming out of the toy guns? Toy pellets? What was it?
I don't know if you've seen any of these before. These are something that these pistols are something that have become an object of fun whenever it's Christmas. It's being sold everywhere. They have some sort of gunpowder bullets, 8 rounds, that is used for these toy guns, as the bullets for these toy guns. So you load them up and shoot. It gives that owl sound, and people are excited by that sound. Actually, it has become a trend in the Ashanti region. We know that in Christmas it's something that children used to play with, but now some young adults, the young people are taking it up, and there are even videos circulation on social media where in the Central Business District, some young people put themselves together and went for these gun battles with these toy guns. It's something that is becoming a trend in Kumasi, and the police have even issued a warning on that, with some of these young men being picked up and cautioned not to use or brandish these toy guns.
Okay, so quick point, Nanaya. I just want us to do this very quickly. So I get it. We'll also be bringing in Adib Sani, a security analyst. But so the police has cautioned them not to use these. I want to suspect that the Nshayeso MP may not have known that it was a toy gun. But did you say earlier that this person holding the toy gun brandished it, used it to threaten the member of parliament? Did that happen?
That is the information that I'm getting. The incident is that, or what actually happened, according to those who were present, is that the guy pulled this toy gun and pointed it at the MP, threatening that he would shoot at him if he refused to give answers, or if he refused to give the answers they're expecting from him. So to some extent, you can count it as a threat.
Okay, what was the reaction of the people? You mentioned that it was a crowd. What was the reaction of the people first when this person brandished the toy gun, and when the MP also brandished his real gun? What was the reaction of the people? Did they run helter-skelter? Can you paint that picture for us?
From the indication, it's like not all of them who are around the MP saw that the MP had pulled a real pistol. Some of them did see it, and which they drew his attention that what this guy is brandishing is not an actual gun, but just a toy gun. So that is when the MP immediately or quickly put it away. So a few people who saw the actual gun from the information didn't run away, but actually they they drew his attention to the fact that the guy is only brandishing a toy gun.
All right. Well,
let's bring in Adib Sani into the conversation. Adib, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
How do you react to these developments? I'm sure you've followed the story. You've heard what Nana Yaojima, my colleague, the picture he's painted. What's your initial reaction?
I have spoken countlessly about this rather insane thing of brandishing toy guns in Kumasi. And I've been quite categorical that it's just a matter of time. An individual with a real gun would gun down someone with a toy gun because he or she feels threatened. And I've been also quite unequivocal about the fact that if anyone points such a gun at me and I'm armed, without question, I would gun the person down. And so I'm not surprised that we nearly got to that in this situation, because there's something in gun ownership called the law of proportionality. You know, if you own a gun and you feel threatened, it depends on the nature of the threat. So, for example, if someone chases you with a whip, you are not in a position to gun the person down. But if someone chases you with a knife, with a machete, with a gun, whether it is a toy or not, because you wouldn't be in a position to know that, you are permitted under law to take action. And so this is a very risky thing. It's a major national security threat. And I also indicated, I think I'm a prophet, that these guns could be used to intimidate even political opponents during an election. To be honest, I don't know where this is coming from. And from the intelligence I've gotten, they even ran out of stock in Kumasi. And the market women have come to Accra to look for these guns. They've also run out of, stock in Accra. And some are going to Togo and other parts of the sub-region just to bring them in. While
we are being told, my colleague was telling me that the police had told them that
Ben,
it
I have
was
a statement here.
Right.
From
Would
the
you
Ghana
like to
police.
read the statement?
Let me just take that line that say, we hereby caution the youth to desist from this act as it constitutes the offense of offensive conduct conducive to breaches of the peace, contrary to Section 207 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, among others. And this was after the 26 people were picked up, just so that we can put it in context. I think this is what they're avoiding. But the question I have is, should a member of parliament or any political actor really carry a weapon where there's a crowd of young people? Should we be carrying a weapon, when we are going into a crowd like that?
Okay, so someone who has worked within the armed space for some time now. I was part of the team that developed a new draft law to regulate the armed space, because the law we have is old, it's archaic. 1960s, a lot has changed since then. But that is what the law is right now, that law, the 1960s law.
Yeah.
And it's very categorical that you can carry a weapon, but you are not brandish it unless with the tacit approval of the IGP. Okay, it's supposed to be concealed as a civilian carrier. Okay, so if you have it and you have it hidden, unless there's a special state of emergency, they say nobody should carry a gun out. But if you have it hidden, you haven't perpetrated any crime.
In this case, was this instance an emergency?
Well, he's a politician. And there are threats left, right, center. The threat can even come from within. I know many people in Ghana who cannot step out of their homes without a pistol in their car. A lot of these fraud boys, excuse my language, move with guns in their cars. People do, because they don't just feel safe. And so for a politician of his caliber, I am not surprised. And this is quite synonymous with a lot more of these politicians. They move out with guns hidden sometimes in their cars. So I'm not surprised whatsoever.
Okay.
So interesting dynamics. First off, legally, I mean, whether it is a toy gun or not, you don't want to brandish a gun because the person against whom you are brandishing the gun may not know that it is a toy gun. And the person, like you said, may take counteractive measures, which he or she thinks is proportional to the threat. And someone may be gunned down unnecessarily. Even if this is a toy gun, even the threat of it, right? That's why assault and battery come into the picture. But in this case, assault. But what do you think, from the security perspective, we should do? I've seen a message saying, why are we even producing something like this? You remember firecrackers, bangers, were outlawed in this country some time back. I don't know whether that has been lifted, but people still use them. It's widespread. How do we deal with something like this from the legal perspective?
We have to curb corruption because these individuals are able to bring these items in, not just using the smuggling route, but even using the approved route. Yet they are able to bribe persons who are supposed to ensure it doesn't come in. I hope you get me. And that is how come these things, come in proofs. Secondly, when you go to the market and start seizing these things from the market women, it's unscientific, it's unintelligent, because you are only targeting it from the very big, okay? They are retailers. So what I think we should do is to, through intelligence, understand who are the main power brokers, who are the wholesalers, who are importing these items. Then deal with it at the very top. When we are able to do it down, we affect the whole supply chain and not without things.
Adib, you would have to reposition yourself briefly. We seem to be losing you. We lost just about 5 seconds of what you said. Could you just
so
go
what
back
I'm
briefly?
saying is the second approach we need to adopt is for us to make a conscious attempt through intelligence, target the wholesalers, these persons who are able to import these guns. Okay. By so doing, we affect the whole supply chain. So if they are not able to bring it in again, nobody would be able to buy it. And that can only happen through intelligence. And law enforcement is also critical. I mean, when we catch or arrest these individuals, we have to deal with them, pull their ears hard to serve as a deterrent to others. Because I am worried that it's just a matter of time someone would get killed for brandishing a toy gun. I remember some years ago in Pakistan, an individual was holding a toy gun, and I think it was threat, and the range, they had special, he came around, and immediately they shot it, and it was caught on the camera. And later they imprisoned some of the rangers because they thought he acted too disproportionately, because at that point the guy had tossed the toy gun, but they shot him. So it's a very dangerous thing to condone. We need to act fast and stop this madness.
Well, let's speak. Thank you. Let's speak to Jimmy Boashiansa. He's Director Research and Elections for Inshaiso Constituency. Jimmy, thank you for joining the conversation. I know you follow the story. What do you make of it? And would this be a problem if it wasn't a politically charged climate?
Okay, thank you very much. So good morning to you.
Kindly speak up. We can't hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much. A special good morning to your viewers.
Yeah.
And I just want to make an input with regards to what happened on Sunday evening. The member of parliament was
Jimmy, for some reason your sound is really low. I think it may be because you are using the earpiece. So please, I don't know how you can do this, but it's not helping the conversation.
Let me get it close so that you can listen. Hear it very well.
That is better.
I hope
Please
it's okay.
Ahead. Yes.
All right. So, as part of his campaign itineraries, he visited Atasuma's community, and in his 4-year period as a member of parliament, he has helped the constituency to get 2 AstroTurf projects. One is at South Kwadasu Estate, Sofoline alignment near the Sofoline interchange. And then the other one is at Atasumasu community. And the one at Sofoline has been completed 100%. And the other one at Atasumasu community has not been completed. It's about 50%. So So as part of his campaign, he met the youth, a couple of young guys who have been using the field for their sporting activities, and they complained that the project is delaying. And he also urged them that he will try as much as possible to make sure that the contractor gets back to work and fix the project so that they can go back and execute. So he was done with them. They asked for some cash. He gave it to them, 1,000 Ghana cedis. And as he left them and he was moving towards his vehicle, he just heard one of them saying, "I will shoot you." So he turned back and realized that one of the guys among them was pointing a gun at him. So he became anxious. I mean, he didn't know actually what was happening because he just spoke to them, and he settled the issue that he was going to get the contractor back to work. So he never understood why one of them among the guys would just pull the gun towards him, pointing at him, telling him that he's going to shoot him. And you know, for some of us who are on social media, for some of us who are in Kumasi, you know that it's sort of a trend. But for him, you know, running between Accra, Kumasi, and not being maybe a social media kind of person, some people don't know some of these things, that this is the current trend on social media and that. So he became very, very anxious. In fact, he tried to run away. But in trying to do that, he also decided to, defend himself. So he pulled the gun, but he did not pull the trigger. He didn't shoot. The moment he did that, the gentleman among the guys, he ran away. So he just got into his car and then he left the scene. So that was actually what happened at Atasuma.
Are you saying, sorry Ben, are you saying, Jimmy, are you saying that the gentleman who pulled the gun and said, "I'll shoot you," intended it as part of the trend that we are seeing on social media?
Well, whether he intended it as a trend or it was as a result of their anger relatively to the delayed project, no one knows. And we cannot, decide on the person, the reason why he did that. But the fact is that he was the first person, the young guy was the first person to pull the gun towards him and make that comment that he was going to shoot him.
Yeah.
And you know, as a minister, as a member of parliament, you know, we should have our limits. Even if, whether he was playing or not, we should have our limits with regard to some of these things.
Right.
As to the kind of people we take those things to. He's a deputy finance minister. He's a member of parliament for the Constituency. So even if it's a game that you are kidding or you are playing around, you shouldn't take it to that extent of, heading towards.
Okay, so Jimmy,
he was about 10 meters.
Just to conclude the conversation, I mean, trend or not, this is not right. This whole, I don't know whether it's accepted in the Ashanti region, but this trend of, you know, whipping out, whether it's a toy pistol or not, legally, it's not the right thing. And I hear the Ghana Police Service has cautioned against that. But what is the security detail of the MP like? I know a lot of them, and as he's a Deputy Minister of Finance, he has security detail. What happened at that time in respect of his security detail? You say he was fleeing, he was running. That's why, and he had to pull out a pistol. That's why I'm asking. And has the man in question, has he been identified? What happens next? That's my final bit to you.
Well, I cannot give so much information since but what I want to say is that he has a police officer who always moves around with him. But you know, at times when they meet people and discuss issues with them relatively to their personal concerns, we are in a campaign period. So at times you can meet a certain group of people where you might require your security officer to give you some space. But some of these issues to be personal. So he has a bodyguard that is a police officer. But you know, when it gets to some of these campaigns where people bring their issues, they normally excuse them and they give them the opportunity to listen to personal stuff that people bring.
So what you're basically saying is that the police officer was not in close proximity to the deputy minister when this was happening. That's what you're saying?
Sure.
Okay. The gentleman, has he been identified?
Yeah.
He's been identified. What's the next move?
It's with the police, so I don't want to give so much.
But so he's in police custody?
I can't confirm whether he's in police custody or not, but he was identified. He's an inhabitant of the community, and I believe that steps have been taken.
Right.
And we also had to go to the community and explain the issue to them, because a lot of people are misinterpreting what actually happened there. Because the MP has a name, everybody's talking about a member of parliament who has to the figure, or the senator who has to the figure.
Okay.
The real issue is that.
All right.
I mean,
Jimmy, unfortunately, we're going to have to end it here. The sound has been on and off, but we're grateful. At least we've got, the thrust of the argument, the discussion. That is Jimmy Boakye Ansan, Director, Research and Elections for the Inshiayeso constituency, the constituency of Sticker, as we popularly call him, Dr. Stephen Amwa. And we were also joined by Adib Sani, a security analyst. That's how we cap off the conversation.
I mean, yes, but at least I grew up with what we call knockouts and toy guns, where you load that red thing with a bit of powder in it and you shoot at it and all that. So to be here now and we're having a conversation about toy guns that are, the police are warning citizens about, and then it's resulted in a member of parliament pulling out a gun, we're in dangerous times. We should really take this caution seriously.
Well, let me just say this out there. Legally speaking, don't pull out, even if it's a plastic, whatever, don't pull out a gun against whomever, because the law of proportionality, if they pull out a gun and shoot you, they would have defense in the sense that
they felt threatened.
They felt threatened, and you pulled out what they thought was a gun. So free advice, don't go around doing some of those things. We'll be back on the AM show after the break.
Well, thank you for staying. You're still watching the AM show. Right before we get into our next belt of conversation, get ready for the biggest giveaway from Syntex Tank. Syntex is visiting 15 communities, giving them free water. And this is just to say thank you, Ghana, for making us the #1. Now, Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. Do you know that Syntex comes in so many colors and was also the first to come with inner white layer tanks? So when it's not Syntex, forget about it. Now, if you're a community and you want to benefit from the Syntex free water giveaway, just log on to the social media platforms at all social media platforms here, Syntex Ghana, and nominate your community. The more you nominate, the better chances you have of Syntex coming to your community. Remember, it is SINTEX, Syntex Tank. Not be any tank be tanko. The correct tank be Syntex Tank. Syntex Tank, tough, strong. Now let's talk about something really interesting. I've been joined by two beautiful women in the studio. I have Matilda Dansoa-Dako. She's CEO of 10XB Dimensions Limited, as well as Mrs. Hilda Sam, COO of 10XB Dimensions Limited. And they've come with some beautiful products, 10XB Naturals. They were part of the exhibitors at the Joy Prime Made in Ghana fair. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Welcome to the AM show.
Thank you.
I'm already salivating from the sweet smells and scents that I'm, inhaling from here. But introduce us to your brand, 10XB. What is it really about? Let me start with you, Matilda.
So thank you once again for having us. Thank you to all your listeners. 10XB is a female-owned company. We were incorporated in 2021, January 2021. What we seek to do is to contribute our own quota to the natural lifestyle of people, lifestyle cosmetics, trying to make sure that the natural products we have in Ghana is known and is seen, and people are using it for its benefits. So basically, that is what we do.
Which means everything we're seeing right now on this table, completely natural.
Completely natural, no additives.
Okay. Yes. Then, Hilda, tell me about the specific products we have here.
Okay, so here we have our cookies made with our cocoa powder, our ginger powder, and a few other ingredients. Very yummy.
Of course, we don't want to tell us the secret recipe, yeah.
Very yummy and melt in your mouth. We have the natural cocoa powder, which has all the benefits for, it lowers your blood pressure, it maintains good circulation in your body, packed with antioxidants and flavonoids. So we also have a blend of ginger and cocoa. This is our pièce de résistance.
Oh.
It is the powerhouse.
Right. I want our audience to really see it. So turn it, right, so that they can see what we're talking about. Right.
Okay. So it is the powerhouse. It has natural ginger, organic natural ginger with organic cocoa. So you can imagine the health
cocoa and
with
ginger.
Exactly. So it packs a punch, but it is very good for your body. It's very good for your health, boost your immunity. So, you know, there's cold season coming up and people get sick here and there, but a little cup of this at night will give you a good night's rest and relief from the symptoms.
I'm curious to know what the story is in terms of what are some of the challenges you encounter as a female-owned business who are trying to, you know, produce these naturally good products. And we also have shea butter there, right? Okay,
yes.
Let me not jump the gun. Let's get into the shea butter before I come in with the challenges and all that.
Okay, so as we all know...
Can I have one of those?
Sure,
yeah.
Here you go. So as we all know, shea butter is a wonderful emollient. It covers the skin, nourishes the skin, replenishes the skin. And did you know that it also boosts your collagen production? So for women of an older age, when we put that on our skin, we are giving our skin more life.
In fact, look at your faces. I believe that this is the secret, right?
Yes, that
very flawless and smooth skin. Cocoa butter, shea butter, that's that for
yes,
you.
it has cocoa butter as well.
Okay,
yes.
Right. So we have a whipped version, which has a little bit of cocoa butter, it has a little bit of shea butter, and other essential oils for a beautiful aroma on your skin. And then we also have the plain shea butter. Some people don't want any scent. They want it unadulterated. And we make sure we source the best shea butter from women-owned companies in
up
the
north. Yes, because of course that's the best place to get shea butter.
So we get it from there fresh, and we do our formulations ourselves. So most of our products, or let's say all of our products, are 90% handmade. Yes.
So how would you measure the impact of this work, the amazing work that you're doing, in terms of how you overcome the challenges as a woman-led business, in terms of advertising, in terms of how Ghanaians are even receiving these products, cocoa and ginger, shea butter scented. And I was telling you about how the scent just threw me to a Friday night candles and all that. Yeah. How would you measure the impact of the work you're doing so far, Hilda?
Well,
she can go. She can start. It's okay.
Well, so far, we've had quite a tough time breaking into the Ghanaian market. Our tastes are very, how can I say? Foreign. Exotic. Ghanaians want something that looks and feels luxury. So we are kind of focused on getting ourselves to that excellence, so that when they see our product, they don't think, oh, this is from Ghana. They think this is a world-class product. So when we present ourselves well, and we make sure that we have the quality that Ghanaians are looking for.
Made from right here, but global standard and can be used anywhere in the world. I'll give you 30 seconds each to speak directly to our audience. Let them know where they can find you, put out a contact number, a location, so that, you know, they don't miss the opportunity to experience these amazing products.
Okay, so Turner's Be Naturals is in we are located in Sakomono. You can contact us on 0266 0532 0266 0532. We are just in a few shops for now. So if you happen to be on the Spinkters Road, we are in Bachona. You can get some from Bachona. You can get some from Jolie's shops at Comty 20. You can also visit us on Amazon and all our social media platforms. You can also go to China Mall. We are currently at China Mall for our cocoa products.
Right. Matilda, what would you add to that in about 20 seconds? And I'm trying to taste this so I can give you a live review. But Matilda, in 20 seconds, please, let's go.
What will I add to?
No, Hilda.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Our products are second to none. 10XB stands for 10 times better dimensions. So we aim to give you a 10 times better feeling. So come and try our products, enjoy it, and feel the difference.
It does feel different.
It does, right?
It of home. It has a very homely feel.
Yeah. Okay. It's homemade, actually.
Yeah.
So
there you have it. 10XB Naturals. Please do well to follow them across all social media platforms. Get in touch, and I'm telling you, your palates will love this. Right? Thank you so much, Hilda and Matilda.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much for having me.
All right. There's still so much coming your way on the AM show. Don't go away while I enjoy my sweet, sweet, delicious biscuit. We'll be right back. You're still watching the AM show. Let's talk about Best Western Plus Accra Beach. They have an event coming up, BWP Corporate Night. In the studio with me to discuss this is Princess Pearl Date. She's Sales and Marketing Executive, as well as Doreen Udro, also a Sales and Marketing Executive. Princess, Doreen, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you so much.
I hope you're doing well.
Yes.
I know your hotel very well, so I'm glad to have a conversation with you. Next time I come, you give me a discount. What inspired Best Western Plus to launch the BWP Corporate Cocktail Night?
Okay, so what inspired it is we wanted to create a unique experience that is for both old and new guests. All right, so this is like a year. It's been a long year, you know. We just want them to come together, celebrate, and then end the year on a high note, you know.
Okay.
Yes.
What does this really entail then? What goes into the corporate cocktail night, Princess?
Okay, so it's an avenue whereby we want to strengthen our relationship with our existing and new clients, and also an avenue for our customers to come and build new networks for their companies for 2025 too as well.
Okay, I understand there are some prices like GTP fabrics and caveman watches that some people will be winning.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Right, so we have a partnership with Caveman. So we are having, it's a branded watch with BWP. It's one of a few, so if you get it, you get it. And it's going to be, anyone can win it. That's with the GTP fabric, anyone at all. We are going to select it by numbers. So when you come, anyone is a lucky winner.
Yeah. Yes. How long, what's your target audience? Who are you inviting to attend?
All right, so we are looking at the corporate, that is business people. We want them to come and then meet people that are like-minded. Yeah. So this is mainly to create an avenue for networking, all right? Networking, but not all networking, some live entertainment, you know, so it's just something for everyone. You can come if you want to meet some business people. You can come if it's mainly for the prizes. So just come and then have fun.
And let's get into the details of when this is starting, the date. Venue, of course, is Best Western Plus, and then all the other important details that our audience should take note of, Princess.
Okay, so we are having it this Saturday, 30th of November, and it's starting at 5 p.m. on the dot. Yes.
Princess, come again.
We are having it on Saturday at Best Western Plus Hotel, and also it's starting at 5 p.m. Yes.
All right, so
that's it. What
30th,
time does it? Okay.
30th November. So it's exactly 5 p.m. Everything has commenced.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll give you both 30 seconds each to maybe invite our audience directly. Tell them why it's important, absolutely important, that they don't miss out on this opportunity. Okay. Doreen, I'll start with you.
All right. So first of all, I'd like to say a massive thank you to our sponsors, our partners, and that is Caveman Watches, GTP. We have partnership Soho, Independence, Luna Rooftop, and then Casa Preco, Kamasita. I can name a few, and then they'll be very, very, very supportive in this journey. And on 30th, we want you to come, enjoy yourself, enjoy the live music, and then enjoy the hotel, which is at the beachfront. So you're going to have, you know, all manner of entertainment. We just want you to come, corporate, meet business people, because, you know, networking is not just about exchanging contact. It's just meeting the people and then creating a genuine connection. And that is what we are trying to give you.
And Princess, before you give me your final word, what is so special about all these corporate entities that Doreen just mentioned? I mean, in terms of what we should look forward to that they are bringing on board. And then you can give me your final bid. That is the invitation.
Okay, so we are looking at they having to bring on board what they sell, happen to share it with our contacts too as well, and also making an unforgettable memories with each other.
Okay, so the invitation then.
All right, so you can RSVP on by calling, which is 050-956.
Oh, there you have it on your screen.
Yes, so 050-965-1381. So
please say that again.
050-965-1381.
Is that number there? Is it on the screen?
No, so it's strictly by...
I just want to be sure that our audience gets it. So take it one more time and slow
all
right,
all right. So 050-965-1381.
And I see the dress code is
business
casual. What does that mean?
So that means,
like,
you know,
what you're wearing right now?
Yeah, and then if you have a rolled up, you know, a shirt, you know, after a long day,
just feel easy.
Just feel easy. It's, you know, it's a beachfront. You can't just, you know, it's you just want to be laid back and then have a great night.
Well, Princess Pearl Date, thank you, and Doreen Odro, they're both sales and marketing executives from Best Western Plus, and do well to attend that corporate cocktail night happening on the 30th from 5 p.m. till Mama calls you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you too.
All right. Don't go away. But before we take a quick break, it is the calling of institutions of higher education to actively participate in the policy and development conversations within Ghana and around the world. Towards this aspiration, Central University has the pleasure of inviting the general public to a public lecture to be delivered by the Chief Justice of the Republic, Her Ladyship Justice Gertrude Tokonom. The topic for this gathering is the sustainability of excellent legal education in tertiary institutions in Ghana, the way forward. This is happening on Friday, just this Friday, the 29th of November, 2024. It starts at 3 p.m. prompt, so don't be late, be on time. Venue, Best Western Premier Hotel, Airport Residential Area. Now, this public lecture is a highlight of the 10th anniversary celebrations of Central University's Faculty of Law. And their media partners, of course, is the Multimedia Group. Do well to attend. We'll take a quick break. We'll return with more on the AM Show.
Welcome back. This is the AM Show. And as we slug it out all the way to the end of the show, we're going to host the National Communications Director of the NDC. And we're going to discuss divergent, different matters right here. But joining us, we have Sammy Gyamfi, National Communications Director, National Democratic Congress. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
The Lord has been gracious and kind. My title is actually National Communications Officer.
Officer?
Yeah, you know we have a National Communications Director, my senior brother, Kakre Samwa.
Oh,
but I'm the National Communications Officer.
I think for a long time I've said that. But anyway, thank you for...
Thanks for having me, my brother. And how are you doing?
I am okay under the circumstances. That's what I always say, because it is what it is. But what coming to the studio this morning, what did you come with in terms of the latest? What is on your mind this morning?
Well, for me, what is on my mind this morning has to do with the fact that at long last, Ghanaians have barely 10 days to the crucial December 7th general elections.
At long last?
At long last.
I see.
An election like none other. An election that will shape the future and destiny of our country, the future and destiny of our children and their children's children. And so I'm excited about that because it is a golden opportunity for the people of this country to vote wisely to bring about the change and transformation we've all been yearning for in the last 7.5, nearly 8 years. And I'm particularly excited about this because it gives us the opportunity to vote out the ruling New Patriotic Party that has plunged our country into economic bankruptcy and imposed untold hardships and suffering on all of us in the last nearly 8 years. And so I know that, like me, there are many Ghanaians out there who cannot wait for December 7th election to pass their verdict, a verdict of no confidence in the Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government, which has flattered to deceive on almost all their flagship promises. Today, people are buying a ball of kinky in Ghana today at 3 Ghana cedis, 5 Ghana cedis, at some places 7 Ghana cedis. Today, drivers are struggling to buy a gallon of petrol and diesel at almost 65 Ghana cedis. Today, you need more than 16 Ghana cedis to buy $1 US. It's the same for those who need safer for their business, those who need euros for their business, or pound sterling.
Did you
for
say
their
safer?
Business. Yes, safer. You know that
the CFA, I know the dynamics with the CFA, but I don't know whether it's fair to, bring in the CFA
very
as far
fair.
as this conversation is concerned.
Very
and
fair.
also as far as we know of the dynamics between France and some of these countries.
No,
and
very
the
fair.
leveraging.
Very fair, because you know that more than 90% of the things on our markets that we consume in Ghana are imported. And most of these things are imported by market women from Francophone countries. So you have people going to Togo to bring in goods, some going to Cote d'Ivoire to bring in goods, and so on. So the safer is what most traders in Ghana deal with. Not everybody requires dollar or uses dollar for their imports. A lot of petty traders in Ghana, and even big-time traders in Ghana, use the safer for purposes of importing goods into the country. And in 2016, Benjamin, will you believe that one needed just about 6,500 to get 1 million safer? Today you need more than 25,000 Ghana cedis, almost 30,000 cedis to buy 1 million safer without more. So this has had a very debilitating impact on businesses.
I understand when you talk about inflation, when you talk about the exchange rate, I agree with you. But over time, the cost of things, changes, right?
Yeah.
You don't expect that what you were buying for maybe 1 cedi in 2016 would be 1 cedi in 2024. Right?
Exactly. That's
so with some of the permutations you make,
yeah.
To what extent do you make these permutations?
Yeah. You see, I understand you perfectly. Prices will always go up in any country with inflation. Prices will not be static. Prices will not come down. But for me, it is the quantum of increment in prices, general price levels, that is important.
Okay.
And so if you have a situation where inflation increased from 15.4% as of December 2016 when we were leaving office to a staggering 54% as of December 2022, then you know that that is a mess.
But inflation now is a little over 20%.
No, inflation today is 22.1% and has been on an upward trajectory in the last 2 months. It was 20.4% in August of this year. It increased to 21.5% in September, and in October,
that's what I'm saying. It's still hovering over 20%.
But still look at the trajectory. It is going upwards. And 22.1% inflation is extremely high, regardless of the country you're looking at. And even if you look at the PPI, the Producer Perception Price Index, it is hovering around 33% from 30.5% last month. So prices keep going up, okay? The man who used to buy a gallon of diesel at 14 cedis in 2016 is today buying it at 65 Ghana cedis. Benjamin, this is not a mere increase. It's a significant astronomical jump The one who needed just 4 cedis or 4 cedis, 20 pesos to buy $1 today has to cough up more than 16 Ghana cedis for $1. It is not a mere increase. It's an astronomical jump that has collapsed a lot of businesses. Look at the taxes we have been slapped with as a people by a group of people who promised to move us from taxation to production.
I think now you may be preaching to the choir because we are all familiar with the.
We are familiar with that.
I just have a quick.
But Benjamin, with 10 days to go,
right?
10 days to this crucial December 7th election that we are all yearning for, it is important for us to remind ourselves about the suffering that we have been plunged into by the current duty bearers, who today are pretending to be in opposition when they are in government. For the first time in the history of Ghana, you are having an incumbent regime campaigning against its own policies and pretending to be in opposition in government and promising the citizenry that vote for us and we will come and change our own policies when they have the power to do that now. Ghanaians should not forget these things. They should vote for a man who is tried and tested, a man who has proven to be incorruptible, a man who has the experience and the steady hands to steer our nation out of the economic quandary we've been plunged into by these nation wreckers. A man who can come and stop the plutocracy and the state capture going on. A man who can come and stop the state capture, the corruption, the thievery, and who will apply the meager resources of state judiciously, borrowed funds judiciously, for the betterment of our welfare as a people and for the creation of opportunities, not for a select few, but for every Ghanaian.
For everybody.
That leader
let me ask
is
you
the
this.
nation builder, John Dramani Mahama.
Right. And I ask an open question. You talk about some of these ills. Are they going to be any better under a future NDC government if your party wins? Some of these metrics you mentioned, right? Because I also listen to the political actors and sometimes I get a little uncomfortable. You do realize, like Dr. Etiahene and others have said, that look, with the way our economy is currently, in the next, after 2025, a year or two after that, in fact, by 2025, 2026, Ghana may have to do debt restructuring again. I mean, things are not rosy, right? So with some of these things you talk about, are you not walking the tightrope as a party because they could come back to bite you?
Yes, they could come back to bite us, but we are able to boldly talk about these things because we have a leader who is trustworthy, a man who delivers when he promises. John Dramani Mahama is very measured with what he promises because for him, integrity is the most important virtue every leader must display. And so, yes, even as we campaign against the rots we've seen in the last nearly 8 years, we are very measured in the kind of expectations we create, given the economic realities we know we will be confronted with. And everything we say, everything we promise, are things that we have thought through carefully and we are convinced are achievable. Look, you ask whether Ghanaians will see some improvements in some of the matrices I've pointed to. Emphatically, yes. You know, this year alone, the cedi has depreciated by about 29% this year alone. Now, I can say without a shadow of doubt that after John Mahama takes office and stabilizes things, you are not going to see the cedi depreciate at this alarming level. It will not happen. The cedi will never depreciate.
You are not saying that it will not depreciate, but that it will not depreciate at this level, alarming level.
Okay, the cedi will not depreciate by 54% like it did in 2022. The cedi will not depreciate by nearly 30%.
Are you talking of,
like it has done
Are you
today.
talking of inflationary trends, or are you talking
I'm talking about the
level of
depreciation
of the
because you see, the depreciation of your cedi is a function of demand and supply of forex. You understand? And one of the major factors for the depreciation, the ever depreciation of the Ghana cedi, has to do with the shortage of dollars in Ghana. What has accounted for that? Number one, our bankruptcy. The government engaged in a reckless borrowing spree since I mean, when he took office in 2017. I'm talking about the MPP. I'm talking about the Bawumia-led economic management team. They borrowed recklessly against sound counsel from the NDC and other neutrals. They were borrowing averagely $3 billion from the Eurobond market. And worse is the fact that the borrowed funds were not invested into the productive sectors of the economy. They were not invested into revenue generation projects and programs that could pay for those loans. And so we got to a point in November 2022 when we could no longer service our debt obligations. And for the first time in the history of Ghana, we became a bankrupt nation. Our credit rating moved from B- under John Mahama to CCC, junk, baller status. We're locked out of the capital market because we could not pay our debt, and no nation, no creditor was willing to lend to us again. And that is where we remain as we speak. Today, even Burkina Faso, which is being ruled by a military junta, they are able to go on the capital market to borrow. Cote d'Ivoire is able to go there to borrow. Togo is able to go there to borrow. But Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana is not able to go there to borrow because of what? Bad leadership that borrowed recklessly and wasted those borrowed funds on consumption and corruption, profligacy and wastage. So that is what has destroyed investor confidence in our economy. And that is what led to the capital flight we saw in the latter part of 2022, which our economy has still not recovered from that. And so the surest way of stabilizing the city is to restore that lost investor confidence through prudent fiscal and monetary policies. So John Mahama has said that we are going to stop the reckless borrowing and borrow responsibly and invest borrowed funds into the productive sectors of the economy. And he has done that before. We borrowed $1 billion from the Chinese. We didn't spend it on Wache and Kinky parties. We didn't spend it on constructing a useless hole in the name of building a cathedral for God. We spent it on the construction of the first of its kind gas processing factory, the biggest factory in Ghana, the Tuabo gas processing plant, which today saves Ghana $300 million a year, and which today has paid for the loan we contracted for that project. We were able to build the best airport terminal in the whole of West Africa, the Terminal 3, with borrowed funds, money we borrowed on the books of Ghana Airport Company Limited through a deliberate government policy. We're able to build the MPS terminal at Tema Port, which has made it the biggest port in the whole of West Africa.
I mean, this administration will tell you about 1D, 1F. They will tell you about...
They've not borrowed for 1D, 1F. They will tell you about... So don't jumble them together. Let's go one after that.
Hold. They will tell you about some of their social intervention policies, including impacting industry. They will tell you, for example, about industrialization. They'll tell you about the Flower Port flyover that has just been, unleashed, inaugurated.
I like when we go step by step.
They've spoken about the year of roads. I mean, if you want to talk about major projects, they also have major projects, don't they?
So number one, let's go step by step. Because when you go, the devil is in the detail. It is when you go step by step that you are able to expose the hollowness of the claims they make. Number one, they've not borrowed for 1D, 1F. 1D, 1F is basically a private.
I didn't say that they,
No, because I'm talking about.
I am saying
the prudent utilization of borrowed funds.
You spoke about major projects, and I'm just giving you some of their major projects.
I'm not just talking about major projects in isolation. I'm talking about major projects undertaken by the actual NDC Mahama government with borrowed funds.
Okay.
Contrary to what this government has done, we borrowed and invested them into revenue generation projects and programs, productive sectors that yielded dividends to pay for those loans, created jobs, created value, and expanded the GDP of Ghana. That's what I'm talking about. You get me? As none of the things you mentioned fall within the category that I am discussing, the category of a Tuabo gas processing plant, the category of the MPS terminal, and so on. But put that aside, and let's even talk about the so-called achievements you mentioned. These are not achievements. These are mere slogans. Because in terms of 1D, 1F, what is the dividends we have derived from that as a country? You come into office on the back of a promise to build a factory in every district. In opposition, these guys even published a pie chart, which indicated the type of factory they were going to build in every district. You come to office, and very characteristic of you, a 419 bunch of people, you decide to amend.
I don't think that is respectful.
419, and
419 represents fraud.
Yes, and I'm going to show that to you because you promised to build specific factories in every district. You come to office and you change that. You convert.
If we want to use the word fraud,
if I finish, you will understand my drift.
If you want to use the word fraud for such activities, then we can label probably every leader in this country because they've not done everything they promised, did they? Then we can say that all of these leaders have been fraudulent.
It's not about.
Which is why it is unfair to say it's a 419.
It's not about not being able to fulfill everything they have promised. It's about deliberately setting out to lie to the people.
So deceive.
To deceive the people. For example, when Bawumia said that they have decided at cabinet to henceforth build only concrete roads in Ghana because concrete roads are durable and better than asphalt roads. That was not a manifesto promise. That was a politician deliberately deciding to deceive the people with sweet rhetorics and lofty promises. He knew that it was not achievable to build concrete roads in Ghana. When Bawumia stood at Cape Coast and said that, good people of Cape Coast, I have good news for you. We are building, not we will build. We are building an ultra-modern harbor for you and a brand new airport for you. It was not a mere manifesto promise that they have failed to keep. It was a deliberate lie calculated to deceive the people. Because his boss, Akufo-Addo, later told us in an interview that the promise to build a harbor in Cape Coast was never on the table and never discussed. So where did Bawumia, his vice, get that from? You get my point? So I'm not talking about mere manifesto promises that a government is unable to fulfill. No government can fulfill 100% of their manifesto promises, not even in the United States of America. So I'm not oblivious to that. I'm talking about a government that deliberately sets out to lie. When Bawumia stood on a platform and told Ghanaians that we don't have to borrow for roads, we only have to tow the roads, and we'll be able to generate all the revenue we need to borrow roads, to build the roads we need. That was not a mere manifesto promise. It was not even in their manifesto. It was a deliberate lie because he knows that as a developing country like ours, we can't do without borrowing. When he looked at us and told us, in 18 months, we will transform Ghana's economy. In 18 months, no community in Ghana will have a water or toilet problem. My brother, that was a lie that he knew he could never keep. So let's not confuse unfulfilled manifesto promises with deliberately concocted, fabricated lies by certain devious politicians.
Well, the word deliberate will be
deliberate because he didn't say it in his sleep.
It will be relative.
He thought about
because other people would look at other pictures of different promises and say, well, that was deliberately said. The person acted as though, hey, I'm going to do this, and it wasn't fulfilled.
The things I'm talking about are not even manifesto promises. But let me go back to the point. These are not even manifesto promises.
Make that point briefly.
Back to the point I'm making. Even those so-called achievements, 1D, 1F. Look, I had cause to point out on TV3 this weekend that in the last 2 years, the manufacturing sector has been growing in the negatives. Negatives. The industry sector has been growing in the negative. Just check Appendix 1C of the 2024 budget of this government, and the figures are there. They talk about roads. Construction has been growing in the negatives in the last 3 years. Check their own budget, Appendix 1C, on page 161. You get my point? So these are mere slogans. I have traveled the length and breadth of Ghana throughout this campaign. Go to Western region and look at their roads and tell me whether they have benefited from any year of roads. Go to Amenfi East, Amenfi Central, Amenfi West. Go and look at the roads there. Go to Ahafo, go to Bono, go and look. Yes, every government will build a road. I won't say they've not built roads. They built some roads. But definitely not the 10 kilometers of roads they are talking about. Definitely not. They have definitely not done more than any government in history as they claim relative to roads.
Let's get into the campaign.
So the point here is that when you ask Sammy Gyamfi whether Ghanaians will see an improvement in some of the matrices I talk about, The answer is emphatically yes, because Ghanaians are going to see a total reset of economic management and a paradigm shift in how we manage this economy, which will restore confidence in our economy and ensure that we use the meager resources of state judiciously for the benefit of the people. Finally, before you come in with your next question,
has to be
one thing
brief.
that we're going to do to stabilize the economy, especially the exchange rate, because that is so passionate to John Mahama, is that we are going to put in place the right measures to attract forex. Number one, increase oil production. You know that this government has not added even one oil field to the 10 Sankofa Jubilee fields we bequeathed to them. And they have, because of the hostilities meted out to players in the upstream sector, oil production has declined by 32%. Under John Mahama, that will be changed. Oil production will go up, and when oil production goes up, that is more foreign exchange to stabilize your city. Cocoa, the cocoa sector has collapsed. Under Mahama, we had 967,000 metric tons when he was leaving office. Annual cocoa production, 2016-2017 cocoa season. Today, we are struggling to get 420,000 metric tons of cocoa production per annum. They've collapsed the sector. And the John Mahama cocoa production will go up again because free fertilizer is coming, free weedicides, all those interventions we used to implement for the cocoa sector.
How about illegal mining?
Will come.
Which is largely accounting for where we are.
So with increased cocoa production, you have more foreign exchange to stabilize the city. So
Sammy,
we've thought about this.
We have to go quickly.
We've thought about this.
How about dealing with illegal mining, which is a major part of the problem?
One thing is certain, and you can mark my words down. Under John Mahama, forest reserves will once again become red zones. And no appointee of John Mahama, no government official of John Mahama, and no man born of a woman, whether he is NDC or MPP, will be given the right to mine in a forest reserve to poison our water bodies at a source.
So you're saying that if it doesn't happen before the next government takes over, whichever government that is, should your government take over, LI 2462 will be revoked?
It will be abrogated with the speed of light.
All right.
Because under John Mahama, we have no such ally. Mining in forest reserves will be banned. Mining in water bodies will
we have to go speedily on this, else you will not have the time to address
No. This is an important issue because it borders on our lives. So if we can even dedicate 2-3 minutes to it,
we have 40 seconds more on this matter.
Look, we are going to amend the Minerals and Mining Act to impose stiffer punishment on mining in water bodies. We are going to ban government appointees from engaging in mining. Whether legal or
don't get involved in mining.
Then we are going to ban mining in forest reserves, which is where the poisoning of our water bodies actually take place. And we are going to take an inventory of all mining concessions in Ghana, particularly the small-scale mining concessions. We are going to attach graduates from the University of Mines to them. We are going to give them the necessary training. The Ghana Gold Board will be establishing, will provide that training and technical capacity support to make sure that they mine responsibly. And we are going to hold holders of mining leases who allow illegal mining activities on their concessions. We are going to hold them accountable and prosecute them. Anyone who wants to mine responsibly under John Mahama will be given the right and the support to do that. We are not going to make mining the preserve of a few party supporters. No. Mining will become a legitimate business for every Ghanaian desirous of going into mining. But you have to mine legally and responsibly. You mine illegally and irresponsibly, you have problems with John Mahama. And nobody will
Let's
be able
talk
to
about
or protect you.
The John Dramani Mahama campaign. How is it going? I saw an interesting ad today from the MPP suggesting that, for the former president, Dada Noir, but if we want anything different, it must be Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. How do you react to that?
Anything different from the man who has been at the helm of affairs of economic management in this country in the last nearly 8 years. The man who in opposition held several lectures and waxed lyrical about economic solutions. The man who was projected to us as the economic messiah Ghana needed, the economic wizkid Ghana needed. The man who told us that if the fundamentals of your economy are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. And today, he has been exposed by that exchange rate, such that he has taken flight from the economy. The economy has become haram for him. He doesn't talk about the economy these days. All he talks about is...
He's been given the name Dr. Digital.
Dr. Digital. So where
he focuses on
where is the digital solution for the dollar?
What is your problem?
Where is the digital solution for the ever depreciating cedi? Where is the digital solution for the unemployment rate in Ghana, which has gotten out of hands, increased from 8.4% under John Mahama to over 14.7%? Where is the digital solution for the debt mess, the debt crisis we have on our hands? When for the first time in the history of Ghana, we have defaulted on our debt obligations. And we are giving haircuts to people who lent their hard-earned monies to us, their lifetime savings to us as a country, including pensioners, some of whom have died because we took their monies and refused.
Let's go back to the focal point.
No.
So we are going to get... No. We can't keep doing this.
No.
We can't keep doing this.
So if you ask questions, you don't want an answer?
No, give me straightforward answers. I asked you a question. I put it to you. This is what the MPP is saying.
So this is my answer.
The simple point
my answer is that
are we going to see a different John Mahama? Because he himself has spoken. He says he's learned from some mistakes of the past. I'm asking you a simple question. Are we seeing a different John Mahama?
Do you realize that I'm the
if he becomes president?
Today? Do you realize that I'm the
if he becomes president? Look, are we seeing a different John Mahama?
Look, some of these things I say here, you say more than that even on blunt thoughts. So I wonder...
But that is my prerogative.
Why you don't allow me to talk about these things? Listen. First of all, let's expose that fraud the MPP are attempting to perpetrate against the people of this country again by branding Bawumia as a new person. He is not new. He is the same Bawumia we knew in opposition.
Okay.
And the same Bawumia we've known in government in the last 8 years. Oyedada Noah, a man bereft of credibility, a man who has proven time and again to be a pathological liar, a man whose word is not his bond, a man who has proven to be totally clueless when it comes to economic management, and has totally run down the Ghanaian economy, imposing untold hardships on us. And so if you are a pensioner or you are a bondholder and you have lost your coupon, or you've lost part of the monies you lend to government, or you lost your job as a result of the collapse of the financial sector which Bawumia supervised, or today you have finished school but you are home because there is no job for you, and you are having to pay e-levy, COVID-19 levy, Bola levy, growth and sustainability levy, all these useless draconian taxes which the government is wasting on useless initiatives. Know that this Bawumia has nothing new for you. And in fact, he himself, when he stands on the stage today, apart from dancing off beats to Owosisi Fianibi, and apart from insulting our intelligence by singing to King Palute's Nyamene Shiraye, Nashimu, to which God has blessed him, Bawumia, and his wife, and it is paining Ghanaians. Apart from that, he has nothing.
That is the meaning you read from it.
To offer but he's definitely not a new person. But for John Mahama, John Mahama is not a new John Mahama. He's an experienced John Mahama because he has the benefit of hindsight. He's been president before, and as president, he left an enduring legacy of unprecedented investments in capital expenditure, infrastructure development, tangible projects that are there today. You can see it, you can touch it, you can feel it. Investments that have created jobs, investments that have created development and transformation for us. He was voted out. He's had the opportunity to stay out there on the sidelines observing things for 8 years. And so he's coming back refreshed. Not new, refreshed. With the benefit of hindsight and experience. A virtue that no person in the history of Ghana has ever had.
Okay.
And so coming back, he will be a better version of himself and outperform his past and do far better than the good things he did under his first term.
Let me just ask you this. I see that you've been campaigning vigorously. What has been the response as you've gone round? And there's an interesting dynamic. Kodeo has come through with his latest report. And part of it shows that, interestingly, you, the NDC and the MPP, you are doing your rallies all right, but you are going more to communities, individuals. It has changed the trajectory of, campaigning, political party campaigning since 1992. Is that strategy? What has changed that is getting both of you to adopt, this strategy?
Well, I can speak for the NDC. And what I would say is that right from the outset, we set out to, engage in a retail campaign, largely a retail campaign, where we go to every nook and cranny of Ghana with our message. And so, yes, we have multiple teams. The flag bearer you may see in the big towns and capitals of districts and so on. But the running mate also has its targeted area. The national chairman goes way down, okay? And myself and other leading figures of the party, like the majority leader, Dr. Atufose, and other leading national officers of the party, we also go down. So we have different campaign teams, different strategies. But the objective is simple: reach the Ghanaian at their places of abode with a message of hope that John Mahama and the NDC are offering. That has been the strategy, and so far, much better. We've seen a significant improvement on our fortune as a party.
Okay, so at least then it confirms that it is strategy. I just wanted to see
is totally different from the style of campaigning we have.
And we saw some of that under John Evans at Mills, and when he was being laughed at, you remember the Adieye song. So I found it interesting. I wanted to find out what was behind
house campaign.
Right. What was behind this?
And once you said,
but let's veer into a
just 5
issue.
seconds. Let me just use 5 seconds to salute all our parliamentary candidates, all volunteers, all branch executives, constituency executives, party activists who are on the streets, who are doing house to house and various forms of retail campaigning. We salute them for their sacrifices. We salute them for their commitment. And we want them to know that in the next 10 days, this will pay off. They shouldn't give up. They should continue doing what they do.
Earlier in this conversation, you mentioned the National Cathedral. And we've sunk quite a bit of money into that already. Shraj came through with a report. What are your brief reactions to that report, some of what it says about the board of directors and what should happen, and other dynamics in terms of corruption and what could have gone on, which leads to suspicion of corruption, including the contract with Ribadi Limited? And what will happen to that National Cathedral project in a future NDC government?
Well, first of all, it is refreshing that Shraj has confirmed what all of us knew to be true, that so-called project, was not about building God a National Cathedral. It was just a group of people who came together and decided to use the name of God to steal from the people of Ghana. And it is refreshing that Shraj has confirmed that indeed the said project was awarded illegally to Ribadi. The contract is a criminal one, and it remains a total abuse of the public purse. It is so sad that in this time of excruciating hardships, joblessness and hopelessness, we've wasted, according to Shraj, over 259 million Ghana cedis. That is 2.5 trillion old Ghana cedis. Imagine the hospitals this money could have built. Imagine the number of schools it could have built. The number of productive initiatives it could have been used for to create jobs and prosperity for our people. Money gone down the drain. And the saddest thing for me is that they did not even use the money for what they said they were using the money for. Because today you go to the site and all you see is a manhole which has gathered water. And now people are calling it a swimming pool. Sometimes it is funny, but it is very sad.
So what will you do
that
with
much?
What will you do
guys
with
could
it?
not even build the foundation.
What will you do
of
with
what
it?
they call a National Cathedral?
What will you do with
it? It's a tragedy. And what John Mahama has said is what we will do, which is basically that we will first of all conduct a forensic audit into the project to ascertain how much has been sunk into the project, by whom, and where did the money go? Because clearly the money didn't go into the project. And we need to find out where the money went to, and we need to retrieve those funds. And when we have done that and prosecuted those responsible for this criminality, then we can engage the state, the nation, in a dialogue on what should be done, what should happen to that abandoned pit. So that is a decision that the nation will take collectively. But the first thing we will do within our first 90 days in office, in fact, it is part of John Mahamed's 120-day social contract with the people of Ghana.
Right.
He will conduct a forensic audit into that. I am so happy that men of God that we revere, who were deceived to join this project, have resigned. I'm happy that His Eminence Archbishop Duncan Williams has resigned from the Board of Trustees. I'm happy that Bishop Dagiwad Mills has resigned. I'm happy that Isud Anaba, Pastor Isud Anaba has resigned. I'm happy that they are all washing their hands off it, because clearly this was not meant to glorify God.
We have to go. I want to sneak in this.
Enrich a few selfish, greedy, corrupt people. But not only will John Mahama punish them, God will judge them for stealing his name.
This is the final bit. We have to go in about 40 seconds, right? How ready is the NDC? Now, the IGP has said the police is 95% ready for the elections. Monday, December 2nd, special voting starts. The EC says it is ready. How ready is the NDC?
The NDC is more than ready. We are more than ready to police the ballots through our competent, courageous, loyal polling agents and observers. What we want is a peaceful, free and fair election.
Okay.
What we want is for the will of the people of this country expressed at the poll to stand at the end of the day. So Ghanaians can be rest assured that under the leadership of John Mahama, the NDC will act responsibly, play by the rules, and ensure that the process is free, fair, and peaceful. But we will not allow anybody to manipulate or undermine the sanctity of the process.
I think it's Mr. Jinapel who said that you can't collate your own results. Can you collate your results?
What happened in Asenov? Who collated our results for us?
Okay. Thank you very much. And that is Sammy Gyamfi. He is National Communications Officer. Thank you for the correction.
Of the great NDC.
Of the National Democratic
The adjective
Congress.
must come. The great National Democratic.
He is National Communications Officer of the National Democratic Congress. You are trying to be. but thank you for joining the conversation. No, we have to go. Thank you very much. And this is how we draw the curtains on this belt of the conversation, and in fact, on the AM show. I do this always with Sweetie Abochi. Thank you for watching. After the break, we'll bring you Joy News Desk. Do stay.